Coming to you from the Blue Crew Studios in Temecula, California, it's the Whiskey Throttle Show, bringing you inside the lives and careers of industry leaders and legends pushing forward in action sports. Yamaha has been setting the standard in two-wheel and four-wheel fun for decades. Yamaha is always out front innovating and focused on reliability and performance. Join the Blue Crew today. Get yourself a Yamaha. The Whiskey Throttle Show is presented by Motorsport.com. There's no need to even leave your home anymore if you need gear, you need parts, you need products, anything around your riding and racing hobbies. Go to Motorsport.com, order it up online, and it will be quickly and conveniently shipped right to your home without even leaving your driveway. Get over to Motorsport.com and make your next ride your best ride. Troy Lee Designs is the leader in off-road motocross apparel and style. So whether you're looking for a cool new paint job for your helmet, maybe your name and number on your helmet lettered on, you're looking for new gear, you're looking for mountain bike gear, off-road gear, they've got the brand new Scout line, GP and SE models. Troy Lee Designs has it all. They've been leading this industry for decades, and they're going to continue to do it. Rockform, creators of the world's strongest magnetic phone case. They have mounts for your car, motorcycle, and bicycle, as well as universal mounts to adhere your phone to any surface. They also have screen protectors, power banks, stands, chargers, and more. And don't forget the G-Rock wireless golf speaker. Magnets adhere this powerful speaker to your cart, or any metallic surface for that matter, so you have tunes while you golf, work, or hang out. Rockform, always innovating the phone case market. Rockwell designs all their sunglasses in their U.S. headquarters in Utah. Then they are manufactured in Italy using the strictest craftsmanship standards, ensuring you get the best pair of sunglasses you've ever owned. From men's and women's designs, floatable, alloy frame, and a UV 400 rating, which blocks out 100% of UV rays, Rockwell has everything you need for you and your family. Use our code WT20 for 20% discount at checkout at rockwelltime.com. The Whiskey Throttle Show is proud to partner with El Jefe Energy. Whether we're throwing a leg over a bike to go riding or covering supercross races and nationals, El Jefe keeps us firing. Early mornings at the track, long motos, or late nights wrenching in the garage, El Jefe brings the goods and 200 milligrams of caffeine to the party. Visit eljefe.com to check out all the flavors they have available, or go to your local convenience store and pick up a can. El Jefe Energy's fuel for the fearless. Thanks for joining us here in the Blue Crew studio, guys. We've got a great show for you today. And our guest is a former pro and a current motorsports manager at Suzuki. And obviously, these guys are coming off a really big win here with Ken Roczen winning the Supercross Championship. Chris Wheeler, thanks for coming in, dude.
Oh, thanks for having me. This is cool.
Yeah. I've been kind of bugging you for a while to have you on and stoked to get you in. You guys, is everybody sobered up from the weekend's...
I think I'm there today.
Okay,
I'm hoping. I mean, I text you you gave me the address, and I was at the office, and I typed it in, and I'm like, oh, they're by Suzuki, and I'm like, oh man, that I'm still not functioning.
Yeah, no, that's the starting point.
Yeah, I was like, oh, just flip it, whatever. Yep, but we're here, and it was worth it.
Yeah.
So
you were telling me about that the championship celebration down there. I mean, watching it in person and on TV. I mean, you can see the emotion. Like, I don't think. Probably throughout the season you guys started to believe, but like I think at the beginning of the season, if you'd have told everybody you guys are going to be the champions, you know, it was a stretch, right? Like it was probably long odds. So it had to be really, really cool for everybody.
That's what makes it so cool because, you know, you look at all the if you're an odds bettor and you look at the odds of, you know, Kenny's age no one had ever done it over 30. You look at the brand of Suzuki and you know, picking on the bike of not up.
Is that right? No one had ever won the title over 30.
Yeah.
I think it's a stat I didn't know.
Webb and Tomac were like 29 and a half or whatever the months were, but they weren't 30. So the oldest champion, I mean, no one had ever done it once they started their career or 450, you know, career, 250, whatever. I think 6 years was the longest it took someone, and he's on year 13. So double the amount of time, you know. Usually if you don't get it done within 5-6 years, it's not happening. So there's all these things that, you know, and then the narrative of Kenny not being able to put a full season together and whether, you know, I mean, you can't blame the dude with the injury he had and coming, you know, like I always say, I look at all the champions and I mean, you know, injuries. This sport is brutal.
Ugh.
It's one of the gnarliest sports there is, in my opinion. And when you have an injury, I mean, and you're laying there and your body's going in a way that it's not supposed to, like it mentally is hard. You've been there. So for him to come back from that, it's like, I don't think many pros, had big injuries and then became champion, so there's all these crazy stats that just makes it amazing.
Yeah. Truly. It's on paper, it was definitely long odds. And so,
and
just
the
really
team,
a cool
the team
story.
had never been in a championship, HEP, they'd never, so they're just,
and they're a relatively new team,
yeah,
in terms of everyone else. And I think that's the story. People love an underdog. You know 100%. What I mean? And when you were listening to fans kind of leading up to these last 5-6 rounds, it was like, they love that. They love that underdog story. And not just Kenny, but also Suzuki.
Yeah.
Here's a bike that really, and a company that seems like they've sort of pushed racing to the side the last decade versus Honda, the, Goliath, right?
Yeah.
Just a really cool story all the way around. So we'll talk more about it as we get going here. Our motorsport.com gate drop kicks us off, guys. Everything you need is over there. So if you got to pick something up, you're like, I need to run down to the dealership, just pick it up from Motorsport. They'll deliver it right to you. Make your next ride your best ride over at motorsport.com. And they've got a brand new bike giveaway starting at this summer here at the Nationals. Go over and sign up for it. It's free to sign up. You don't have to buy anything, but you can win a bike at the end of the year. So check that out. So I want to, we kind of just chatted about the championship and all that. There's some people that were involved in this that I was just as happy for them, I think. Larry Brooks, the HEP guys, obviously, and Jamie Ellis. Had Jamie won a 450 title before? I know he came really close with Davey, like, they led that year, but
no.
So it's his first Premier Class title too.
Yeah, I don't want to say 100%, but I'm pretty sure that this is the first time in like an individual, not like a factory. And so Jamie was a big part of it. Absolutely. I love Jamie. He's been part of the program. I mean, back in the day he was helping, and like you mentioned with Davey, and he's been a grinder. He's very prepared. He thinks ahead. So there's no way you do something like this without all the pieces of the puzzle, and he was instrumental in here's some ideas, here's we should think about this, and bouncing back and forth, and so it was good.
Gosh, now that you say that, like, because REP does the suspension, right?
Yep.
Has there ever been an independent suspension company like that that's won? It's usually factory.
Yeah, I mean if you go back to what was it, L&M with Larry, that was like but they rolled the factory bike over. So what other teams have won that wasn't?
Yeah, I mean, there's privately run teams, but they were all factory stuff. They're on Showa or KYB with Showa or KYB techs building it, right?
Yeah.
This is not that. This is
Yeah. Really cool.
Yeah.
And it's just, the times are, I think, a little bit different, but it's really important to have everybody that clicks together. Like, because if you're telling the story about the neighborhood the other day, it's like, I guess this morning, you have one cog that's out of line.
Yeah, that's it.
Throws it all off.
Poisons the well.
Yeah.
Do you think, I thought a long time ago when Yamaha went away and started farming out their teams, I thought, okay, this is the way of the future. This is sort of NASCAR-ish, right? Where you take some of the onus off the manufacturers, because there's so much weight on the manufacturer's shoulders to carry this sport.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a little scarier, to be honest, because if they decide the juice isn't worth the squeeze, it's like the whole sport collapses. Whereas if you have an HEP, right, and they found Progressive, or however that worked getting sponsors, like, it's kind of spread out a little more evenly. You guys are still supporting, but it's not solely on your shoulders. Do you see that? Do you guys like the direction of having someone else kind of running the team for these manufacturers?
I couldn't, obviously with this happening, I could see other manufacturers going, speed.
Yeah.
Maybe because you could spread out the funds a little bit differently.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Well, look at Star Yamaha. I mean, how much better has Yamaha their results gotten since they pushed it away.
It's a big thing because there's this. I wasn't involved in those things, but like I don't know if there's some egos, and I've heard stories about a decade ago, some manufacturers being like, no, we need to do it this way, and I know from all the years of testing how a bike feels, and you get like some of them get just so rigid, and I'm like the direction just seems, but I'm like, well, maybe that's the way those riders like it, and but almost like it's like you got to be in these parameters, and we're not letting you out of it, and I think that's something that we did really well. Is that's kind of what I try to do. I try to help as much as possible, but then also stay out of the way as long as it doesn't go off the rails. But you're kind of like, all right, do your thing, and then and you're just kind of keeping checks and tabs on things going. But it's tough because you don't have control.
Yeah.
So you got to really trust your partner, and then so once they earn that trust, you're like, all right, let's make it happen.
Yeah.
It's kind of, and then I think personally, like with the way the sport's been going and all the kids on the e-bikes and like everybody's being able to turn a throttle and relate now to racing. It seems like my daughter's 12 and 6th grade, and like all the kids I see moto stickers and stuff now on the kids on their e-bikes. And so there's more of it's not the hidden sport anymore that it was. So it seems like that's, getting a little bit more mainstream. So we need to be able to capture outside sponsors, outside money, to your point. Like if we're all relying on the OEMs, and I can tell you 100%, like Suzuki was like, there was points I told in some of the meetings, like next year's going to be or teetering, and so, yeah.
Yeah, we'll talk more about that. I got some questions about that too, but I think one of the, like what you were just talking about is important, and I think this is credit to Larry, yourself, maybe even Aaron, whoever there. But you have some of these teams now that are going so much off of data.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the shock dyno, or the data says this, and Mitch used to always say a dyno is a tool, but it's just a tool. And he learned, and I probably the hard way in some cases, that like the dyno doesn't always mean what it says. Like, remember Mike Hooker?
Yep.
We laugh all the time. He spent like 2 days building this cone pipe back when I rode for Mitch, and 2 full days, right, of just building it. Never mind like how his big brain trying to figure out dimensions and stuff. Ran it on the dyno, it looked good, and he brought it to the track, and we were just like, it's terrible. Like it's off, it's no good. Like I'd rather run a rack pipe. I mean, so like the point is, and I'm kind of comparing and contrasting your team, that the Suzuki team versus Honda's. There are a lot of data, and like sometimes it works. Like they've obviously got something figured out with the starts, but you guys I feel like you went off of feel, and Larry's really big on just real world track. What does it feel like on the track?
Absolutely.
Riders, tell me, you like it or you don't like it. You don't like it, okay, we go away from that. Not well. Yeah, you don't like it, but the dyno, this says it was good. It's like Larry's old school. I will tell you right now, I think Larry Brooks is the best team manager in the sport.
I agree. I mean, he's had so much experience. He pulls from all the experience from multiple champions that did it different ways, right? So you have all the, obviously Jeremy was, I think initially Jeremy MC was able to show Larry Larry saw firsthand how you do all these things
at the very, very top.
And then he would work with Stewart when he won, Reed, and now Kenny. So you have all this, all this information to pull from. And then where Larry's really good is he keeps it very focused, doesn't let outside distractions. So, and then he's really good at the bike plan, understanding how to get the bike to match with the rider.
Yeah.
It's tough because you can have riders that think they know what they're talking about and pushing this and that, and they're so off base they don't know. But once you understand, like, Kenny's been doing it for so long, he knows, and there was a period there where everyone's like, oh, he just complains, but he was, but he knows what he wants, and you give it to him, and then he's like, and then he makes it happen. You're like, okay, you can't argue that.
Guys at that level, it's just about comfort. I mean, Chase Sexton's a perfect example. and maybe he's not giving them good information. I don't know what's going on
Yeah.
there because he's had this kind of issue at multiple manufacturers, but the end result is he's not comfortable.
Yeah.
And we know he's a freaking one of the fastest guys on the track when he is.
Yep.
So it just kind of backs up what you're saying. But I think it's also important, and then we'll move on, but like Larry also competed at the highest level.
Yeah.
And I think that that's an ingredient for a team manager that it's like without it, the cake doesn't rise. Do you know what I'm saying? You can have a team manager who's super good in business. He's organized. He's all of it. If you've never been in those boots, I don't know, man.
It's hard to trust too. Like as a current rider, and you're like, who's this dude?
Yeah.
Right. Trying to
You go do it then. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, anyone who's raced at that level, there's some respect because the sport is insanely crazy, and it's trying to relate that to someone who's never done it. It's impossible.
Yeah.
You know, but
I was watching the main events with Emig, and he goes, "Do you ever just like look at this and just think, man, this is crazy. There's got to be a better way to make a living." He's like, "I can't believe we did this." I'm like, "I know, it's insane."
And the craziest part is that perspective from the stands, firsthand.
Oh.
You go down on the track at view level, and it's like, how are they going this speed with not alone just but the ruts and the rocks and the kickers? Yeah, we're dumb for sure.
There is easier ways to make a living, like digging ditches. What's been the feedback from Suzuki in Japan and here? Like, are people just like over the moon? Is this going to excite them again about racing or?
Yeah. Well, I'd say that it's kind of been building, like obviously Kenny coming back to Suzuki 4 years ago with HEP, that was really exciting. And then when he won Indy the first round, I guess you kind of go back, but there's a core group of RMZ developers, engineers that were moved into other departments 7 years ago, whatever it was, 8 years ago. And then when Kenny won Indy, like I got a bunch of messages from those guys. This is insane. So thank you so much. You kept our dream alive. Like it was really cool, like sincere. And you have these core people that, once you're in the sport and an enthusiast, you're kind of always, the saying is like, it's like a drug. You're like, oh, it's in your blood.
It's true.
So that kind of started. And then there was like a small little group, and then they kind of came back into that department. And then there was some shifting recently with board members and stuff, and they've been engaged this season. So like, I guess the easy way to quantify it from SMC, Suzuki Japan, every start of every year, Feld provides a couple like international video passes for some of staff in other countries, and I think the first year was like 2. I got 2 requests from Japan. Oh, we need 2 passes, and then the next year was like 4, and then it was 4 again, and then like after a couple races, like, hey, we need more, and then this year I got the request and it was like 20, and I'm like, bros, like,
chill.
Yeah, I'm like, well, I was like, I was like, can you put them in priority, like who's who, so that I understand, like they're not going to give us all these, or maybe they will, I don't know. So at least I can start with like, hey, the top 4 get them, or the top 10 or something.
Yeah.
So, but I guess that's just the easiest way to quantify the reception. And then I guess like there was a big viewing party live in
Japan.
Yeah. So, yeah.
It would be cool to see footage of that if somebody had a phone out.
Absolutely. There's got to be. There's got to be. I mean, I haven't seen anything yet, but like they were FaceTiming down on the track.
Were they?
Down, yeah. They were like, they FaceTime, I think it was Aaron, yeah.
So this is something that it seems to be a truth, although, like everyone's so secretive about Japan and what happens with all the manufacturers, right?
Yeah.
We just went to Honda, and they took us to HRC, and they're like, this is the first time we've ever let media into HRC. And so we were like, yeah, oh my God.
We're going to see it all.
We're going to see the coolest stuff. And dude, they literally just like cleared out like wherever they would take us, they sanitized and cleaned out the room, put a partition wall up so it was all we could see. And we walk in, we're like, well, yeah, I'm in HRC, but like, guys, what's on the other side of this wall? Like that's the cool stuff I want to see. Show me a pipe, cone pipe you built in '86. Like, I don't care. Show me something cool. Anyway,
it's the culture.
It is the culture. Yeah. And I don't blame them. I'm not talking crap. Yeah. It was just like, this is funny. But it seems to be a truth that management dictates where the marketing dollars go. If the top brass, you said there was like board member changes over there. If they like racing, they'll allocate money to racing if they believe that's a good marketing tool. And if they don't, sometimes they're more bean county and they're like, well, no, the cars are what do it in the third world. Let's focus on that and, forget the racing, like peel that back. Mm-hmm. I mean, how else do you explain you guys winning a MotoGP title and then going, all right, you know what, let's not do this anymore.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And now here we are, like I felt like you said, I mean, racing here got moto and off-road, all of it really got to where it was like almost ready to disappear. I was wondering for a couple of years, like, this might be it, dude. Like Suzuki might go away. They might just be like, it's not worth it. Hopefully now that's a change. But look at Honda in the 80s. Whoever was running things went, I want to win racing. Mm-hmm. Because Honda in the 80s, you couldn't beat them through the 90s, really, right? Yeah. And then it kind of seemed like it switched a little. And so as those board members change and the interest in their value in racing changes, budgets change, and we see the change here. Would that be an accurate description?
Yeah, I don't think it's that simple. But the basics of you got to have the right people in place to kind of champion for what you're doing. I think from a business standpoint, money gets moved around. Because you can be overloaded for so many years in an area, and you're like, hey, let's just kind of not getting the return that we need on this. So it should shift around in time. So there'll be more investments than others, depending on, what products you have. And I don't think I always yell and argue about, Supercross, super motocross. These athletes are like Ken's a global athlete. Huge following.
Yeah.
German.
Former world Supercross champion.
The whole, bucket. He's not just promoting the RMZ. He's promoting the whole brand of Suzuki and all the, in a roundabout way, all the products we have. And it's a really good way for the brand to sell GSXRs or 8R. They have huge, automotive's huge. How much, in India and all that they're selling. And I think that's what MotoGP was to them, because it went to so many different countries. They were literally using that to like promote the brand.
It's
to
image
cars,
marketing.
To promote cars is kind of what it was.
And like small bikes.
Scooters, yeah. So,
but I haven't been to India. Somebody said when you drive around India, all you see is Suzukis. Mm-hmm. It's like that's the most popular car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's big.
And if I understand right, Suzuki is the second largest Japanese manufacturer, bigger than Kawasaki and Yamaha, second only to Honda.
I believe so, but I don't know. I can't say that officially.
Because their marine is huge, the auto's huge, the third world bike market is huge,
So, I guess, we're just in it. We're moto people.
Yeah.
We ride, so we want that to happen, and we get bummed out on it. But I always have this double-edged sword for myself, like when my thinking, because I'm like, I get so frustrated, and then I'm like, oh, but then business, that I'm always trying to balance out, and but we do need more budget.
Yeah, no, I get it, and this is why I kind of like the model of having a private entity run the factory race teams, because it takes some of that financial burden off you guys. Mm-hmm. Some of the staff, the staffing that's the hardest part, dude. When I was running Troy's team, I would look at our monthly payroll, and it's like that ate most of our budget.
Yeah.
So if you can get a team to cover that, right, and you give them bikes and parts and technology and bonus money or whatever, you cut out a huge,
Well, everybody's got to have a value add to it, right? So if you're the team, like what are you selling, or what's your ROI in that? You have to be bringing enough sponsors, or if you have other businesses to offset taxes, whatever the case may be. It's got to be value for them. It's got to be value for the OEM. Like we need, honestly, we've been working really hard with HEP on additional ideas and things to help. We've had to be very creative to, hey, if we're not going to have full race budget, how can we provide enough support to them so they can go out and do what they just did? And like we've been every year fighting, clawing to pull a little bit here. Hey, they're doing some events for us, just all this crazy stuff. But that makes it hard for me, because then I'm like, hey, let's not overload them, because then they're distracted on the goal at hand is
Yeah.
to go win races and ultimately a championship. So that's been a battle that I've had, like just for me trying to keep my bosses like, hey, like I know they have these deliverables, but it's getting very distracting trying to do all these deliverables that are not even part of racing. You know? So it's like kind of it's a major balancing act.
Well, while we're on Suzuki, maybe we just jump into this now. Is like, what is I got basically confirmed. I don't know. You probably are limited in what you can say. There is a new bike in the works.
I can honestly, hand of God, say I don't know.
Okay.
I have not been told officially that there's anything.
Okay.
Honestly, and which blows my mind because I used to do R&D, product planning. I used to ride the bikes years in advance. It's pretty obvious because all the engineers are here and they haven't been. And
there's been a small army of Japanese engineers at like almost every round.
Yeah. And so, I mean, I know they're doing testing and doing things. So you're not doing all that unless you're working on something. I mean, it's pretty obvious, but officially, like.
But you're telling me they haven't come to you and say, hey, here's what we got cooking.
Nope. And it's hard because like I look at it from, I'm telling my bosses, like, we need to be prepared and plan, like, because, you know, you need new model launches, you need to do shootouts, you need all these things, and you need staff to accordingly, and you need, all the other all the other OEMs when it comes to all that. They probably shouldn't say it, but they probably go as far as massaging the engines to make the tests better, like whatever, at least dynoing them all. We haven't participated just because hasn't made sense for us, It's a lot of resources to do. There's a lot of magazines or media that's doing them, so it's just tough to support it properly.
Yeah,
So.
I get it. Well, all right, fingers crossed. It seems crazy they have like the left hand isn't talking to the right, but
nope.
I guess it's.
I feel like it's coming. And if I don't know how I would even answer that. If I did know, I would just say, yeah, there's for sure something coming. I would tell you that, but I wouldn't tell you when. But honestly, I just assume as much. You've seen what pretty much I've seen.
Yeah. Well, and there's a huge Suzuki following. Like there's people who, anytime we do a Suzuki project bike, like people just love it. Like I don't know why. It's like this bike hasn't really changed in a long time. It's, they love it.
It's.
And I've got a little soft spot. I'm sure you do too. Yeah. Even from your racing days, we were both Suzuki Sport guys, and they gave me my first ride. Like
me too.
I'll always have a little place in my heart for them.
Absolutely.
And it's been kind of like a bummer thinking they might go away.
Well, it's like Suzuki's such an OG of the OEMs, right?
Yeah.
They've what was it, 75 was the first 125. But the problem is like that generation of people that were remembered what Suzuki was and the heyday and all that stuff, like they're aging out. And then like the new kids, like you don't have those. So like that's been like, hey, we got to get on the ball here because that whole group is, moving out and they don't remember what Suzuki,
I know, dude, I kind of miss that a lot. And even like current racer kids, I'll mention a rider from the 90s, like Bradshaw or Metasis. They're like, who? And I'm like, oh, yeah, you weren't even born. You weren't born for 10 years after they were done. Like, I just forget that. So you're right. Like, they wouldn't even know when Suzuki, what Suzuki was in its heyday.
Yeah.
With the Coster. I mean, that picture right there.
Yeah,
yeah. Yeah, they got a rich history, man. And you know what's really strange? Like, our sports headed to a weird place because this was something that got told to me in Japan. We were kind of picking the HRC. This is the lead HRC guy, like top dog. And we were asking him about the new bike and just questions. And I said, hey, is motocross going electric? And I thought he'd hem and haw and maybe not give me. He just looked at me and went, yes. And I was like, I kind of was like taken aback. I was like, oh, okay.
You didn't expect it to be so factual.
No. I thought he would kind of, it's a chance.
Dance around
we're working on something, just yes. And I was like, oh, so when? Like, how soon? I know they have that bike that Trey tested all those years ago, and Trey raved about that thing. He just said the battery life was the only problem. And I basically got him to explain that really it's just battery tank. Yeah. Whenever the next level, whatever it is, which I think it exists, just not at a commercial level.
Cost effective, yeah.
It's like government, military, big things, but they have the technology. And he was saying it's going to be half the weight, half the charge time, and twice the battery life. And I was like, oh, okay. So when that happens, it's game on. Everybody's going electric.
Yeah.
And Honda, when they make a move, like when they said no more two strokes, that was it. And everybody followed suit. So,
I mean, it is a battery. I don't know a ton about it, but it's pretty obvious that the battery life is the problem, you know. Excuse me.
I mean, as an old school guy, though, how do you, because I look at that and I just think, and when we post something again on our stuff of an electric bike, there's a lot of people that hate it.
Yeah.
Like, hate it. I'm done. I'll quit. I'm done with this sport if that happens. It's like, all right, well, better start looking at other hobbies because it's coming.
Yeah. You can't, like, there's pros and cons to it for sure. Obviously, like, we're in this weird debate, right? Not a debate, but changing the pro racing rules to 109 moving, into the following season. Like, that was a weird, internally with all OEMs and the discussions. It was a little challenging.
What's their reasoning for that too? I feel like pro
Well,
racing is the one place you don't really need. Why are you worrying about sound so much?
yeah, I don't fully not on board with it for racing because you're like, but it's so it kind of began with local tracks and sound ordinances and, tracks getting shut down and all that. But really it's been insurance that's causing that, right?
Oh, really?
I
The track
believe that's
shutdown,
kind of what, as is in the current state, kind of where we currently are. I think that's been more of an issue than sound. But there was, I guess, tests done and, so to try to keep the sport not places open and things going was kind of the concept and the idea of pushing it. They're already doing it in Europe. And then you could keep it cheaper because if you, like from a manufacturer, if you're developing two different settings for these and just do it into one, so that's a cost down thing. So all of that. But from racing, it just makes us spend a lot more. So now we have to develop, new settings and then, to choke it down and bikes get hotter, more chance of failure. It's harder for, private shows. So there's all these challenges to it. So it was kind of getting pushed quickly, and then we kind of all agreed to slow it down a little bit.
It goes into effect in 27, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and mainly it was like, from my perspective, I'm like, the AMA needs to get their consistency dialed in first before we start, imagine. I mean, round one this year, Prado got docked points. So like,
like a bunch of people have failed.
but all of those were like in qualifying, they lost their fast lap. Like Prado lost points. So then we're going like this whole year going to make sure we're in place because the last thing we knew, we're in a championship fight, and you're like, don't lose points because of the sound thing. So, and then you got monster trucks the next week.
I know. So, this is the thing. Like, yeah, you got monster trucks, drag races, like, and we're worried about, you went over by a decibel. It's like, bro.
Yeah, it's trying to set the trend of as a community, as a race industry, to be like, hey, let's all be responsible for.
Yeah,
that's kind of the thinking.
I guess I get it. Because if production bikes are quiet but race bikes are loud, people are gonna be like, I want my bike to sound like that.
Yeah,
I'm gonna chop off the end of my sounds or whatever. Yeah, I get it. Are you guys as disgusted with kind of the AMA's what they've done this year? I mean, some of their calls, dude. I just
yeah.
I don't know if they're sniffing model airplane glue in that truck or what's going on.
Yeah, some of them were wild. I know Larry lost his mind a few times, I guess. I was like texting some like, what, crazy stuff. I didn't know this, but yeah, I give him props for like making the effort and trying to put all the pieces together and stuff, but then all of a sudden it was like everything was going a good direction. All of a sudden it was like, squirrel. I'm like, wait, what? Like some of the calls were the one with, and the hard part is because they're trying to be like by the book, like this is what the rule says, so we're gonna just, even though we don't maybe agree with it, but then it's like sometimes can't you make a judgment call, like it's to the AMA's discretion, so that kind of throws it in a weird. So I feel like sometimes they were trying to do that, like the Deegan thing when he lost the win. I'm like, oh man, that was so unfortunate. Like he was trying to get to the inside line. He missed a marker. I'm like, oh man, I don't know. I didn't hear why or the discussions. I know that's a multi-panel group,
Yeah.
But sometimes I'm like, yes, that's great. I know when Shimoda, that was unfortunate. I'm like, because when watching the race live, I was like, dude, what happened there? Why did he do that? And
Yeah.
then go back, you're like, oh, he saw a light. And then like, you
You
know how hard
you
it
see
is.
flashing red lights, your thing is, oh, lock it up. I
Yeah.
mean, I think he did the right thing.
Yeah. I mean, you don't know if there's a guy laying on the
And
backside.
they even said, oh, it wasn't in the rule book. Well, what is going on here? What are you doing?
Yeah, that's one thing I think the rule book just needs to get really locked down. And I don't know. Like I was losing my mind last year got um when Ken got at Tampa when he got cleaned out with the lappers.
Okay.
Basically because
I thought that was Phoenix, where he
no, it was
Tampa, huh?
it was Tampa.
I'll
It was
go
the
back
one
and watch.
Mookie one because he was only 2 points out of the lead at that point in time. And
Okay.
so he won. He had the red plate in Glendale, which was the weekend before. And then I think Sexton won. He was second. Anyway, he was 2 points down going to Tampa. He's running third. And just the problem is you shouldn't be able to pass when you're getting lapped. That's like you want to be able to predict if you're lapping someone, you want to predict what they're going to do.
Yeah.
And when you don't know, it's like, so I said, like, either there's no passing allowed, which is hard because then you got to make sure your blue flags and everything is on point.
Yeah.
And then that's hard because there's not really good spots within the track to do the blue flagging. So you can't blame the guys getting lapped sometimes because like it's hard to even see the blue flag, but you kind of have awareness. And then some guys take advantage of it and they'll pass. That's the problem. So in that scenario, they were going through the sand section, which is brutal to stay straight anyway. Webb was right in front of Kenny. 4 guys going to the corner. It's like Jeremy Hand and Tristan Lane, I think. And I don't know which was which, but one Webb went through the middle of them, and then as Webb went through, Kenny was about to shoot the same gap, and let's just say Lane was rolling on the right, and Hand was jumping past him a little bit to the right, and Kenny drifted a little to the left, but wasn't expecting Hand to grab a handful, or Lane, whoever it was, and just ruined it. Broke the sprocket, broke the chain off in his race. So he lost 25 points, or let's say he would have got third, 20 points. But the way it would have went, he would have left Daytona that season with the points lead. So that's kind of where like this year was like, dude, last year I was in the fight, and then just you get pulled that, and it's hard to keep your frustration. But point is it was like we had like, what are we doing with the blue flags? This was last season. What's going on? We need to have a better system, and everybody needs to be on the same page. And the AMA did call everyone over for a meeting the next week, but it still is, it's still.
I'm a big believer that at the 10-minute mark, they should start pulling off the guy who's in last. Every lap, pull off who's in last. Pull them off, black flag them. And that's your finishing position. Because you know as well as I do, after the 10-minute mark, and a lot of times before, there's guys just rolling around. Yeah. And it's like, what are you doing out there? Yeah. What are you doing? Just get off. You're not going to do any better than 19th or whatever you're in.
Yeah, risking something to happen.
Doing what just happened, right? Yeah. And sometimes they'll lap up into 9th and 10th, and then it's like, what can you do, right? Dude, and it's just part of the deal. But
Philly or whatever the mud race was, I mean, they lapped up to top 5. I mean, Joey was 4th, and they lapped up to 5th.
But usually those guys in the top 10, 12 are experienced enough to kind of be good about it.
Yeah.
Maybe not Prado, but like Prado likes to stay in the way. But he's not getting lapped. But you know what I'm saying? Yeah. I mean, it's the last 8 that seem to be always the problem. So if you just pulled them off and said, hey,
Yeah,
and then it makes them race harder too.
For sure.
They don't want to get pulled off. I really like that idea. I forget who pitched it to me, and I was like, man, actually it was a guy named Sean who used to work at TLD. And I thought that's the best solution I've heard.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely an option. I think for sure you shouldn't be able to pass because that's what causes a lot of chaos. Because when it's one guy, it's a little easier to navigate. But when 2 guys in there, you don't know what they're gonna do. It's like,
I get it, man. All right, well we've let's get to your story, dude. We've been kind of jaw-jacking about it. It's a cool story.
Me.
Yeah, you. Well, that's why we got you in here. Hey guys, quick reminder to go check out WhiskeyThrottleClub.com. $5 a month sign up. You get access to all kinds of content. And about 120 training videos. All of our Elevate program is on there. It's incredible. Really good stuff from Langston, Rhino, Emig, Johnny Campbell, myself, and a whole host of other people. It's awesome. I promise you'll like it. A lot of discount codes in there too. So check that out. Our guest story brought to you by Yamaha, which I know is odd since you work for another manufacturer, but that's okay. Yamaha hooks us up, and so we appreciate them. So an Indio boy, right?
Yep.
Originally?
Yep.
What was life like out there as a kid in Indio?
Hot.
Yeah.
Hot. Dry. Hot, dry.
And you didn't even have Coachella to look for back then.
No, but I actually went to, it's funny because it just happened, but I went to Pearl Jam in 93, which was the genesis of Coachella Fest.
Is that right?
Yeah. I was maybe a sophomore in high school. What? Yeah, I think it was sophomore.
Dude, Pearl Jam in 93.
Pearl Jam 93. Yep. Across the polo fields.
So same place that happens
Same
now.
place. Just, that was like the inception. And they did that because they were fighting with Ticketmaster and about prices or something. So they kind of gave the middle finger and
And that fight still goes on today.
Yeah, I mean, but yeah. So anyway, yeah, that's Coachella. But Indio was,
well, hold on, don't breeze over it. How good was Pearl Jam?
dude, amazing.
Was this when? What was the album? The main album, the biggest album they had.
It was, it was it Jeremy? What's the?
Yeah, dang it. What's the name of the album? Anyway.
Yeah,
the big
one, when they just hit, because it was.
Who else played with them?
I don't even know. I remember there was a band that was really good, and every once in a while I'm like, I wish I knew who that was, because I remember I was stoked on them. I'm like, who's this? And it was just wild. I remember I had my ankle was jacked up, so I was struggling with the crowd, and you're just you're in the sea of chaos and
standing
and
all
I'm
day.
Standing all day, and I remember my ankle on it right towards the end I had to tap out. I'm like, I can't, is my ankle even still there? And so yeah, it was swollen, and I'm like, oh, but this is amazing, and yeah, it was cool.
One of my biggest regrets is not going and seeing Alice in Chains before Lane Staley passed. They were my favorite, but good. I was like, I'll catch them later.
Yeah, never know.
Don't do that. not with heroin around.
Yeah.
What was childhood like for you? I mean, before you got into dirt bikes, did you play other sports?
It was mainly always riding. I did play baseball for a little bit. I was really good until it started pitching at me, and I couldn't see. I think that's how I figured out I needed glasses. Yeah, I was like,
you're just sitting there,
dude.
Strike.
I could kill it off the tee. No, but yeah, I played first base, and it was I don't know, 2 seasons or something, and then moto started. You got to choose one or the other, and of course it was I'm riding a dirt bike. So.
What was your first bike? How'd you get in?
My dad raced. My dad was he worked hard growing up, bought his own bike, and was totally independent. He just had to make it happen by his own. Not his family didn't. There was no support there. And he loved it. He was Suzuki. I remember.
Oh, really?
He was all Suzuki stuff, and he raced the police Olympics. He did that.
Oh, was he a cop?
He was a cop for a few years. He broke his back, and then so he couldn't do that anymore. But he raced. So then, of course, I'm following his. He made me training wheels, but I have some trophy, a little plaques from 1982. So I was 4 at De Anza. So my first race was De Anza. And then I kind of didn't really race until I was 6 or 7. So 85.
Okay.
So I think there was a 3-year gap where I didn't ride or do anything. And then all of a sudden, I don't know why. I think maybe that's when my dad got hurt. And then we took some years off. And then
he get hurt on the bike?
On the job.
Oh, on the job?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
So, yeah. I don't know exactly what caused it, but yeah, he couldn't.
Palm Springs PD, or what was he?
Indio PD. It was rough. Indio's.
Yeah.
India's a rough hood. But yeah. So basically, my dad, we would go out to Jackson Street. Did you ever ride out there?
No, I know Decker rode there a lot.
Yeah. So I grew up with Craig. We literally would ride every week. Will and Craig and my dad, and it was so rad. The 4 of us would go to the desert after school and ride. We'd always practice or whatever because it was just open riding, and we had some natural tracks, and then we would ride, and then at the very end we would do a trail ride. So we'd go explore the mountains or the desert. This wasn't mountains, but yeah, we'd go. Hey, let's go over to the sand, Mini Glamis or whatever. We'd go. Let's go over to the Eagle Eye. There was sections of the whole because it was BLM land, so you could just ride anywhere, and it was sandy and dusty. But then when it would rain, and it very rarely rained, but when it rained, it was the best place to ride anyway because the sand would get tacked up. And
I know for whatever reason, Phil Lawrence was good friends with Craig, and he'd go out there once in a while. Tell me about it.
Yeah, there was some times where there would be some just big star power that would show up, like Mickey Diamond moved out there for a minute, and every once in a while I'd see him out when I think he was the number 6 on the factory Yamaha, so he was out there just doing big, huge jumps, and they were all natural. So you're like, I'm gonna jump from here, big deal. And then like I remember Jackie Veman came out for a while there before I think when he was winning his title and got hurt. Remember Kajowski came out when he was gonna prep for the Nations when they were gonna go race one of the sand ones
on the 125.
I think so. I remember it was funny because Shane Nally was his mechanic, and then fast forward to years later when I'm on the off-road team with him, it's like, remember I came out and tried to ride with you guys, and Donnie Schmidt would always, because he was really tight with Craig Bedecker, so he would always come out and ride.
Minnesota connection, yeah.
So yeah, there was always on 2 wheels, out exploring. Yeah, it's cool.
Do you keep in touch with Craig?
A little bit. Like I always see him every year at Loretta's, and we have a whole day of catching up and reminiscing and telling stories, and how's the family, and all this stuff.
I got a buddy named Dave Allen who built a replica of his Honda of Troy bike.
Yeah.
And we went out to Texas and tested it, and Craig rode it, and it was good to catch up with him.
Yeah, Craig's
good family.
Dude.
We were like kind of enemies racing amateur.
Yeah, I remember.
I was always trying to beat him, and we had a couple unfortunate run-ins, but
that's competition. It's racing,
But they're great. He and his dad are both just salt of the earth.
Absolutely.
You have any siblings?
A sister. Yeah, 6 years younger. 5.5, 6 years. Yeah.
You guys close? That's a pretty big gap.
Yeah, we're kind of all on our own. She lives in Pasadena, and she was in the fashion industry, and but we're just all so pinned. It's like we try to catch up. My mom's in Arizona, my dad's in the Philippines, so everybody's like,
oh my gosh,
yeah, spread out. So
what's your dad doing in the Philippines?
He just kind of ended up there. He would go to Russia to work. He was like security. He would do security detail.
Okay.
And he was this a long time ago, and he would go to Russia for like they would do the satellite launches, and I don't know how but he ended up going in there and being part of that detail, and then from there just like the cost of living here, cost of living there, it's completely so he ended up going to the Philippines, and it's just like so cheap, and been there since. My dad's wild.
Yes.
My dad is.
Like
my dad is. He's so unique, and it's awesome that the memories of how he. Super nice. He would always go out of his way to help people, even like it was like. It made it way harder for us, but he's like, yeah, but they're struggling, so we're all doing this together, and it's like, all right. I mean, this is the way my dad was. He'd pick up hitchhikers constantly.
Yeah.
It's like, so, yeah.
That's great, man. So do you see him often or no?
No, I haven't seen him. He hasn't been here since my daughter's 12, and I think he came when she was like 2. Because he would do, he was head of player detail for big tennis tournaments out in like Indian Wells.
Uh-huh.
So he was like the head security detail. Actually, he got me. I did one tournament. Had to watch Anna Kournikova like drive with her in the cart, and I was like, scrawny me, like I'm gonna protect her. He's like, yeah. So, but he would come out he was coming out every year to do that, and then he stopped doing that, so he hadn't come to the U.S. since. Yeah.
Was she as pretty in person as she is on TV?
She was not nice.
Really?
No.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, she was competitive, but there was how it worked there was all these different courts, and like the one was the main court. So you drive down the tunnel, and we were on this triple seat golf cart. So like there was one person assigned to each player. So like she was playing someone else, and like she's on the back seat. Sometimes they would be cool with each other and be rapping out, all right, good, I'm going to get you, whatever, joking. And then sometimes they don't talk to each other. So she was on the back, whatever. So we're both in the front. She loses, and she's like, I'm not getting on the cart with her. She was like, I'm going to walk. And like the stairs were like steep, and it's like, just take the cart. You'll be there in a minute. And she's like, no. She was like, I'm like, well, I have to walk with you. Like I have to, She's like, do not follow me. And she was like so pissed. And I'm like, I mean, I get it. She just lost and whatever, but she was just
but don't be a dick to you.
She was, she was so
nice. Those are moments that show integrity and character right there. So, well, good. She might have been pretty, but she was a bit of an asshole, turns out. So your first race was De Anza, dude.
Yeah.
That's cool that you got to I never got to race there. I did a Russ Darnell motocross school. You remember that guy?
No.
Oh, he had a big motocross school in Canyon Lake, and we'd go out there and ride. I think it was already closed, maybe, or about to close, but we could still get out there and ride.
It was awesome because you could race and then but it was open. So you could ride all day long, go to
Yeah.
your moto, and then go back, hill climb, whatever.
That place was great.
Amazing. Yeah. It's good for just like an actual enthusiast, right? You get your money's worth.
Did you ever go ride the Yamaha Supercross track?
Did not.
Oh, okay.
No.
When I first moved out here in 94, that was one of the only places that I had to really ride for Supercross. And the old Yamaha track, it was kind of melted and small, but like we motoed out there all the time.
I didn't even know if I knew that it was even still there because we were searching for places to ride when I started, Supercross. So.
Did you go to that place off the 60, Pyrite?
Nope.
Oh no. So you grew up with Craig, obviously. Who else was kind of fast in that area that you'd ride with regularly or race with?
So racing, I started racing at Brona Oaks, and that was like my crew. So I think maybe, I don't know, 85-ish when.
Did you guys move down there?
No, we would just drive. Like it was 2.5 hour drive, But my dad was gnarly. Like he would work job and then drive straight through the night. So we'd get there in the morning, whatever. And I'd look back to parents like, how did my parents do this? I think we all did this. But, yeah. So Brona Oaks, I remember like I first got back to racing and like there was like a girl getting last and then I was the person getting last. I'm like, I gotta beat her. That's my goal. And then it was like pretty quick once I was able to like battle with her and then immediately was like, then I was like battling for the lead. It was like a quick progression. But, there was like Andy Harrington, Dustin Nelson.
Oh, the whole crew.
Tyler King.
Okay.
Jarrett Johnson, Jimmy's little brother, was he was in that age group battling at that time.
Was Jimmy
Jimmy
racing?
Yeah. He was.
Dude, I think he's in this. I found this old, Chris and I were chatting about like old days and old names and stuff. And I actually found a really cool picture of us racing. We'll put that up. But the first big amateur race I did, which was your first big amateur race, it was the World Mini Grand Prix in 1985.
Yeah.
So I got the flyer for that, and I got the results sheet, and like Jimmy Johnson's in here.
Yeah.
I can't remember what class, but I saw them all. That can't be the same Jimmy Johnson.
He's same group as you guys because him and Decker, they were like battled together. I don't know if they're the exact same age, but they were in the same age group. But he was Suzuki. He was like Suzuki's team rider for 1 year or something, R&D, I believe, but he was on a Suzuki program. Yeah, so but it was just, it was like a big family. You go to the race and you battle each other. Then you.
So why would you guys go all the way to Verona? I mean, Glen Helen would have been closer for you, right?
I honestly don't know why. I don't know how we ended up at Verona. But it was just a cool atmosphere because you could go on Saturday and practice and then camp, and then everybody would stay and there'd campfire and ride your BMX bikes and all that stuff. So it was just a weekend experience. So that's what we did. It was,
Was Dana Wiggins a regular down there too?
I don't remember Dana. Okay. Dana's older, but I don't remember. I mean, there were so many people. Like Sean Thornton was, older, but he was one of the guys that's on that list that we were just looking at. But there were so many people that came through there. But the core, like in my group, was them, and that was like the Brona Oaks battling group.
Yeah.
And then when I would go to like Golden States or anywhere outside of Brona, it was like my arch rival was Jason Partridge.
Oh, wow.
So he was a Team Green kid, and we battled tooth and nail constantly. I think he edged me out more than I edged him out. He was good. He was good. Yeah. Unfortunate that he got, hurt right before he turned pro, but he was good. But then the problem I had, these jerks, I had to race Renard and Wyndham. Those were so anytime we'd go to, go to at least the Texas, Whitney, Ponca, and there would be half a lap ahead of us. But I'd be like third or fourth. Me and Jason would be battling, and Wyndham and Renard would be like, go on. Yeah. It's like, all right. So,
It's always somebody. I think every class, I don't know how it is these days, but it seemed like there was always one or two guys who were just like elite, Damon Huffman was my guy. Renard, I ended up racing him a lot. And Decker.
Yeah.
And Decker and I would battle with him a bit. Damon was always like a little bit better. And Renard, when he would show up, he was.
Yeah, it's very talented. Yeah, I think Renard was a year older than me, and then Wyndham was.
How old are you? 50?
No, 48. Just turned 48.
Okay.
48 in 2 months.
Yeah, we start counting it all at this point. Okay, so 85, this was your very first big race.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't.
What did you, because like I came from Montana, so a full gate up there was like 6, 7 guys,
Yeah.
and there was only one other fast kid, Joe Gablehausen.
You
I know
remember his name?
I remember his name. I don't know where he is or whatever, but
Uh,
we would kind of battle, and then but we were gone,
Yeah.
And then you show up to this race, and there was multiple heats to make the final.
Yeah.
And I think I got 15th or something. I mean, I got smoked, and I thought I was, pretty sweet.
Yeah.
I was not. But it was just everything about it, dude. I remember like just how big the pits were. I remember Brian Swink.
Yeah. Bigger than life.
Oh my gosh!
Dude.
Like I just sat there and watched him eat lunch in his chair. And I was just like enamored. The R&D guys. I know you remember this.
Yeah.
Dean Dickinson, who we've had on the show, great dude's a genius. Like,
Yeah.
it's, a genius. But he had this way of like warming a bike up and testing jetting a little bit. He would put it on the stand, put it in fourth, fifth gear, put his foot on the brake, and then just like wind it up and load the motor, unload it. And if you'd push the brake on and then let off and it would pop, like, he could tell the jetting from it. It was really interesting. And he wore the white jumpsuit. You remember that?
Yeah.
Anyway, all of it was like blowing my mind.
I
Was that your experience?
100%. It was like I said, like you just stepped into a new world, and full gates, the race of champions.
Oh, the race of champions.
I remember. I think it was a year later, but Budman and Clowers going at it.
Didn't the dad start fighting? And I
Possibly.
remember right where it was. You remember
the drop down.
You dropped down
Yeah.
by the tower, and then there was a tight right,
yeah.
and somebody punted somebody. I don't remember. Gosh, do you remember? I think it was Butch Smith,
Snowy.
who's another man, the guy that like nobody will know his name unless you're in that era. Butch Smith was badass. Yeah, the snowman or whatever, Snowy they called him. His dad would take hairspray down because it was concrete start, and that was another thing. I'd never started on concrete. I'm like, what's happening right now? His dad, he'd have him spin the tire and spray hairspray on it. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And it would obviously tack up, and it caused a whole controversy. I think they banned it the next year. Anyway, just dumb things I remember. But
Dude, that just quickly before it just came into my brain. But so Butch Smith, so it was like a Glen Helen Golden State.
Okay,
it was like
in that window, 85-ish, 6.
It was later. This was a few years later, whatever. But
okay.
I think it was like the 80 novice class. And I'm pretty sure it was Jeff Willow, was racing in the class, and there was a rider named Armando Overland, I believe, and he was kind of like not that good or whatever, and I think they would pick on him or something. I can't remember why, but I'm pretty sure Butch dressed up in his gear because Butch was older and super fast, and like started at the end of the gate and then got in the race and was like messing with Willow and took him out or something crazy. And then they ended up catching him. But like the story, I remember like this.
It sounds about right. I didn't know them, but they seem like
it's wild
problems, And then the other name was Jesse James.
Jesse James.
Nobody really, this is what's crazy to me. If we're going through this, like Willie Bowden was another name who was crazy fast. Jeff DeMent, Colin Edwards, who is the Colin Edwards, was in our class.
MotoGP,
Ezra Lusk, obviously he won. Jason McCormick, Lucky Roland. Do you remember that name?
No, I don't remember that one.
Oh, yeah. I raced against him in Idaho. He's from Idaho. Sean Thornton, who we talked about. Danny Ulven was another name.
Oregon.
And then you had like, do you remember the Cooks, Brian and Kevin Cook from Arizona?
No.
Who else? Well, Damon Huffman, Jesse James, Metzger, Steve Olson.
Yep.
Dude used to wear pink JT gear.
Panther.
Yeah. From Texas. Yeah. Anyway, these people were all so intimidating. Jacob Swain was the other guy. I don't know, man. It was just funny. You and I were laughing about these names. I'm like, dude, nobody knows them.
Yeah.
And these kids were so fast. And then just like this sport will do, like they just didn't.
So many fast kids. Yeah. It's tough. It's such a 3D sport. So yeah, brutal.
Yeah. I mean, so I tell people all the time, like, just enjoy the ride. Like they get so focused on my kid. I want him to be a pro. He's going to be really good. Man, There's a lot of really good kids who never even saw a pro gate drop. Just enjoy it. Because like those memories of going to the World Mini, going to Ponca, going to Loretta's.
The experience.
Yeah,
That's
man.
life experiences that
Yeah.
you don't get. And it's funny because like my neighbors always, have like this mountain bike group that we ride together, and they're always like, you have so many stories. Why do you have so many stories? And I'm like, because it kind of, you don't think about it, but you're constantly going here and there. And when you travel, stuff goes sideways.
Totally, dude. Okay, so through your amateur career, what else did you hit? Did you ever go to Ponca and Loretta's? I know you went to Loretta's eventually.
We did
but
Ponca.
as a mini bike kid?
Yeah, so 86, I was saying this is a pretty interesting story. 86, we went to Ponca, and we had a motorhome. So we all teamed up to save costs to go to Ponca, 86. And it rained super muddy that year. So it was me and my dad, Craig Decker, his dad, his mom, and his sister, Dave and Damon Huffman, Dustin Nelson and his dad,
What?
and Jacob Swain.
Come on.
Swear to God, 11 of us in this motorhome. It was a flatbed. They welded like a double decker, like so all the peewees put up, because I think me and Dustin were in the peewee class. We might have raced 65, I don't know. And then Damon and Craig and Jacob were like 65, maybe 85. It was 86, so they would have been 9 to 11. We were 0 to 8.
Yeah.
So the whole ride there, it's like, I remember we'd stop on the way at gas, you're going to gas stations. We'd get Garbage Pail Kids, like, what'd you get? Whatever. And the leaf springs, I think we were overloaded weight, so the leaf springs in the motorhome broke. So we had to pull in and get chicken wire and like 4x4 wood blocks, and they jerry rigged it together to get us there. Just chaos. And
that sounds like a Dave Huffman move. Right
yeah,
there.
maybe he was the wizard, right? And then we get there, and Dave had this suitcase that had the little 3 numbers codes to open the briefcase, right? So we think what happened was, so we're all sleeping in the same motorhome. Dave might have gone off with, another camper, whatever. And do you remember they had the arcade there?
Yeah.
So in the middle of the pit. So after the races, all the kids would go play arcades. Well, Jacob Swain, he was no parents. He's there, and he's just like handing money out. And we're like, dude, what? Well, then Dave's like, all my money's missing. So we kind of were like, we think, so it was wild. Just the whole experience, just mud, everything's dirty. You're just cram packed with all these families and one little, it was a big motorhome, but it was just like, what were we thinking? But that was the experience.
I had the same one, dude. I think 86 or 87. We went back to Ponca. Didn't do Loretta's, just Ponca. Ponca was bigger at the time.
Yep.
And it was 3 families from Arizona, but it's very similar, like packed in. I think there was only 6 of us or 7, but we were all in a motorhome. Maybe there was 8. But yeah, just like stepping over the top. If you had to get up to pee in the middle of the night, it's like a war zone. Oh. But those are great, man. Those are great memories.
Yeah.
You didn't do Loretta's on a mini bike?
No, the first time I did Loretta's was, I only raced it twice. But yeah, we did Whitney. So like I went to Whitney in 87. I got second behind Wyndham in the 0 to 8 class. And then I think I turned 9 after that. But we would just stay World Mini, Whitney, Ponca. And then once I got on big bikes, we did Loretta's and Mini-O's twice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you did 3 times.
What's that?
93, 94, 96 at Loretta's.
Okay, so that's right. So at Loretta's, when I went 93, first couple laps, I destroyed my ankle. That was the year, and that was at Pearl Jam. So I didn't even crash. I caught it. I went in a rut, like standing, and it just yanked my ankle backwards. And
they have your result as 88th. That's why I was kind of like,
I didn't race.
So you must have just that was your qualifying position or something going in.
I literally first practice done.
Golly.
So then it's kind of wild the way my Loretta's went. So then the next year they ran it backwards, and the track they've ran Loretta's backwards twice, and it was the only times I ever raced, 94 and 96. Yeah.
Huh.
It's kind of cool.
I don't remember that happening.
But so then I did that in 93. I made it a couple laps. And then fast forward to the next year, 94, I rode 125 and 250B. And then the first moto was 125B. I go out for the first moto, you know, they give you the parade lap. I come in and I remember telling my dad, I'm like, man, they ripped the track so deep. It's just like bike slow. I take off for the first moto and halfway through the first lap, my bike blows up because it was just not, it was ready to go.
seizing.
Yeah. And I didn't know. So I'm like, my dad was irate. He's like, I told you to go to the jetting track and ride this thing. And I'm like, oh. You know, you drive all the way there, you spend all the money, you know. But then I won the other class, so it was like, okay, everything's fine.
Yeah,
you know?
everything's
so
okay.
It's like, oh.
Yeah, title in 250B in 94.
Yeah.
That's cool.
It's like Perolio. Perolio was in there. JD Collins, I remember him.
I do. Yeah.
JD and I think Alof was in there. I think he said, but yeah.
Huh. It's cool. So, so 94. What was your first pro race?
So I turned pro right after that. So
Okay.
won Loretta's and then immediately I think we were talking about went to Transcal.
Okay.
And rode.
Oh yeah, that's where the picture is.
Yeah, but
okay.
But that was weird because I had Yamaha, and then literally from that race I had Kawasaki and Suzuki were like, hey, we want to sponsor you. Like, so I had support. I was always, you know, my dad was always, you know, we bought bikes through like NCY or you know, PVK I think one time. But anyway, we were always working through dealers, so that was the first time. Yeah, so got bikes, literally picked up bikes, put them together, and then went to Mignot's that year, and that was in the A class.
Okay. So,
but then immediately raced Supercross, like right into it.
Yeah, of course, that's the next logical step. Just right into Supercross.
I wish I would have waited.
So 95 was your first year of pro?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, it shows you at Anaheim. Of course, the year's cut off a little bit, but
so that was the year.
Looks like three Supercrosses and one national.
So that was you'll remember this. So starting with Anaheim, my first Supercross, you know, I remember watching from the stands going like, I'll be top 10, like from the stands as a B rider, like I'll be top 10 right now. No problem. I got this. Like, you know, and then get down on the field, you don't have no place to practice. And I'm like, oh, the whoops are gnarlier than I thought. Everything's steeper than than when you're down on the floor.
Oh, yeah.
But it was funny because we didn't have a pit board. So the heat race, I didn't know what position I was in. And it was like, I was in 9th on the last lap, didn't know, passed to 8th. And then I think Shane Trittler was 7th. And that track like had a tight 90 right up the face of the finish. And I like tried to go underneath him in the last turn and took us both down. Oh. And I was like, but I didn't know what place I was in. I was just like, I got to pass people.
Yeah.
And I was like, what are you doing? I'm like, I didn't know. And then I qualified. I think Tortelli was in the LCQ with me. Qualified out of that. And then in the main, first lap, I landed on Deegan. Took us both out. He faced the jump.
This is 95?
95, yeah. That was like a right-hander double out of the corner. Or it might have been San Diego. No, it was Anaheim. It was right-hander double that was hard to do, and he like messed up a little and didn't make it and just came to a stop. And I was in the air first lap, just right on him. Took us both out, and then yeah.
That's funny.
But then fast forward to San Diego made the main. Third round was East-West. Made that one, which was good for 16 first year. My goal was just to make it in the mains, and then the fourth one was Dallas. And that's the one where I sat next to you on the plane with 2 broken arms.
Is that the one?
Yeah,
oh, okay. I have it in here to ask you about that because I don't. 95 was that the mud race?
That was, but it didn't start raining yet.
You got hurt in the dry.
Yeah, the rain was just about to come because that was a heat race.
Dude, right there. That's Dallas 95, that picture.
There's a glare. I can't see it.
Oh, well, anyway.
Yeah.
Dry all day. This is the old Texas Stadium, big hole in the roof.
It was hard. Smart, though, to build a dome but leave the roof open.
Well, the dirt was hard as concrete, and then just before the mains, was it the night show? No, because the heats were dry.
The heats were, what was happening was, and I remember it because it was traumatizing for me, was it was starting like the dew, like it was getting ready to rain. So the heat races took off, and they were good, but like it was the condensation in the air, whatever is because when I broke my arms, like I couldn't take my goggles off and I couldn't see. Everything fogged over.
Oh,
So yeah, the rain came. That's the one I think Henry might have won.
Henry won.
But yeah,
Jumping everything.
in the
Crazy.
in the mud. So yeah, that was and it was tough because in the daytime, like that triple was you'd come across the start line, do a 90, and it was usually like a little double, and then you'd go from second to third right on the face, right? And in the day qualifier, I remember
that was people that have never jumped a triple on a 125 will never know the fear of just hoping it goes to third.
Yep.
Right on the face.
Every lap. And in the daytime qualifier, I got like a really bad start, and I couldn't jump the triple on the first lap because there were so many people that didn't do it. My dad was like, "You gotta do it. You triple." And I'm like, "I don't want to jump on someone's head." And he's like, "You gotta figure it out," So, then I get a good start. I think I was in third on the start.
In the heat.
Yeah. I got a good start and came around there. It was all me. I screwed up, but jumped that little thing. And I think what I did was I was in second, and I'd never let it go all the way down. So when I went to go to third, it was like still in second, like it, and just ran out and just over revved, and then nose picked right in the face of it. And I didn't fall. Like I just came to a complete stop and then fell over, and both my wrists were like Z's, both of them. And then I heard the crowd go, "Oh!" And I kind of like, but immediately my goggles like fogged over, and then I couldn't take my goggles off because my arms weren't working. And then I was like,
did you just like roll off to the side?
Yeah, I just kind of like fell up because I know speed came to a stop. And then I remember I was like on the concrete, and they were like, "Get my goggles off. I can't see. I can't see. And then like my arms. And then I remember they couldn't get an IV in me because I think maybe I was dehydrated or whatever, but they couldn't. It was like they kept trying, and then got to the hospital, and then I don't really remember much until I think they're like, "Are you in pain?" I'm like, "Oh shit."
Well,
my arms.
Let me look at these Z's I got here. Yes.
So they gave me something, and then I think it wasn't working. Like then someone else came in. I'm like, "Yeah, I'm still in pain." I don't know if they gave me more. Whatever, but I don't remember anything till like the next thing I'm at the airport, and I'm pretty sure Will Decker gave me his seat. Like I think because we drove. I'm pretty sure Will like hooked me up, whatever, and it's like, "Dude, take my seat or whatever." Okay. Yeah. And then I don't even remember you being on the bike. I remember you telling me, "Dude, you had the rankest breath." And I'm like,
I felt so bad, dude. So you had both your arms wrapped. I don't know if it was a half cast or what was going on, or cast. I can't remember what they did, but you were like holding them up like this. And you just looked miserable. Like you'd been up all night, drugged out, and you had like goop in the corner of your mouth, and your breath was like this, you've been up all night.
Yeah.
Anyway, I was like, dang. Are you okay? Like, how are you getting home? Like, what's the plan here?
So we figured it out.
That was brutal.
Yeah.
I drove home. I had this little stick shift Toyota Tacoma that I would kind of use throughout my whole racing career. Drove to LAX, flew to the supermoto race in Oregon, broke both arms, radius and ulna here, and then this one was a radial fracture, but cast.
Yeah.
On pain meds, carrying a gear bag and a roller bag. And I get to the airport in LA. I just didn't even think about it because I was so bummed. I was leading points when I broke them. And I get to LAX and I like walk to my truck and I'm like, wait, how am I going to drive? I was struggling just to get bags there. And I drove home on Vicodin, 2 broken arms with a stick shift.
The things we do.
Yeah. So stories. There you go.
Yeah.
More stories. So that was brutal. Okay. 95 down. I was wondering what kind of happened there because your results just stopped.
That was my whole season there.
So then you came back at Washougal. You did a couple nationals.
So I just did one that year.
One, yeah. This must be.
And that one, so that was my first national. I think I got 1 point. I think I got 20th in the first moto, which was a point. Yeah. And then the second moto, I was running top 15. I think it was Ramsey. It doesn't matter. It wasn't their fault, but they spit. I had glasses at that time, so I was wearing the inside the lens inside the lens, and I think I was right behind Ramsey, and he spit up a clod, and it popped out the lens, so I had to pull off. I couldn't see, and I was trying to finish, and the depth perception is just when you have one, it's
hard at Washougal anyway.
Yeah,
with 2 good eyes.
So that was literally my first race. So at least I got a point. I was like,
what did you think of nationals? Obviously you've done amateur motocross your whole life, but like, what was the difference between that and the national?
I mean, it just was a war no matter where you were on the track. You could be in top 5 or 30th and like people are sawing your
Yeah,
your wheel off and
that's a great dude. That's a great description. It's a war, no matter what position you're in. Truly, you watch battles for 25th.
yeah,
Guys are trying to kill each other.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy how you think about it. Like, why are you? We're in 25th. What are you? I don't know. That's my perception. I'm like, I'm still trying to pass you, but like, come on, man.
Yeah, don't kill me.
Yeah,
Neither one of us is
we're
getting
we're, get-
points.
we're getting this. We're getting an extra $10 here.
The Nationals used to make me mad because it was like I don't know what the purse is like now, but it was like $10 a position.
Yep.
It's like, really, dude? Take me down for $10?
Yeah.
I'll give you the $10. Okay, so 96,
So 96.
you have no results. What happened?
So this was a PJ1 team. So Michaelia,
Yeah.
Alex. So I was supposed to be on that team. So I rode for Suzuki, like the amateur program. So I'd get my support from bikes and parts and stuff from
Yeah.
Suzuki. And then, to race Loretta's and amateur stuff. And Alex rode Suzuki's. And so they were going to do a team. And we're like, okay, we'll be on it. And it was, okay, you're going to race East Coast. And they had the trailer and everything. So signed up for East Coast. And then Button comes in, brings Yamaha support, pulls that together. And I'm like, well, I have Suzuki support. I can't have, they give me bikes and parts. So it was like, I'm on my own.
Oh,
So,
man. I didn't know that.
yeah, I mean, it wasn't nobody's fault. I mean, Alex, the great people, is just, I get it. You get Button coming in here with, support and all the stuff and makes the team solidified. So
Yeah.
it's like, and they didn't, it was just kind of like it wasn't like, hey, we're building a team and we want you. I was like, hey, let's kind of, let's all gather our resources together. That was more of what it was. So we weren't like F them or whatever. It's
Yeah.
just like, well, we understand. Okay,
No,
whatever.
Alex and his dad were the coolest.
Yeah.
They're great.
So I don't know why, but we just, okay, we're East Coast Supercross, but we didn't have any money. And so we didn't go to I think the first round was maybe Florida or something back then.
Orlando 96.
Orlando. And then we go to so my dad's like, we'll go to Minneapolis. And it was the East West. And it was a snowstorm one. And dude, I always weird telling these stories, but this craziest stuff went on. So we drive all night in a rented Penske van or whatever. It was just, 2 seats, and we have to drive straight through because my dad had to work. And then he's like, okay, we're going to, and I remember telling my dad, we don't need to go, whatever. But he felt so bad. And he's like, I'm going to do whatever I got to get you there. And, my mom's like, we don't have any money. What's going on? It's a mess. And so we're driving there. It's the middle of the night. And I remember like it was 2 seats in a wall. So you couldn't like lounge or whatever. We had a little cooler in the center. And I remember I was like huddled up on the sides trying to sleep. And the next thing I know, I hear my dad going, hang on. It's a snowstorm. It was I don't know if you remember that year we were there.
I mean, I remember the race. I do remember there being snow, but
It was like the freeway going the other way was shut down. Like, I don't know why, but it was iced over. We're going middle of the night and the thing just breaks loose. We start fishtailing, and then I'm like trying to scramble for the seatbelt.
Oh my gosh.
And dude, full 360 in the box van. It went into the center. It was grass. Like there wasn't a wall or anything. 360, the thing pulled it off back on the road.
Shut up.
Swear to God. So then at this point, we're all I'm wide awake. I'm like, I ain't going back to sleep. Then we get to where you could see the city. Like we're driving on the road, and my dad puts it in the ditch.
No way.
Yeah, sort of. So we had to get towed out. And then it was just a little bit where he got broke loose and kind of into the thing and towed out. So we get there, and it's like, we don't know what's going on. We're rookies to this. And it's in the dome, and everybody's pitted inside.
Yeah.
So we get there, and we're like, we get to the.
Where do you go?
We don't see anybody. So we're like, oh, is practice canceled? So I missed the first practice, and then can't even get my bike's so cold it wouldn't start because the walls of that box van were like paper thin. So it's like the bike wouldn't start, whatever. I missed the main by 1. It was east-west.
No
So
way.
Didn't make. Then on the way home, crashed again, coming through Colorado. My dad was zoned out and going down. I'm like, brakes, brakes, brakes. And then he's like, oh, hits the brakes and slides into a van. So that was a crazy trip. So point being, I didn't race any Supercross. That was the one, and then didn't make the main.
That's a rough one.
Yeah,
Jeez.
but that was the year that I started like really like. So I went.
So yeah, what did you do the rest of the year? I mean, that's January. Like,
Yeah, missed all that, and then went to outdoors. Went to Hangtown. I think it was the opener. Was doing really good. I was like just out. I think I was in the top 15, and swapped going into a corner, just a little swap, and kind of high sided me. Broke my jaw. Like caught it here.
oh, handlebar.
Yeah, handlebar.
Oh,
It went through my chin strap and pinned me into the ground. So I couldn't
oh
get up.
my gosh.
And I got up, and it didn't really hurt, but like my teeth didn't line up. So like something's off. Like something's weird. Went to the hospital emergency room there, and they're like stitched me up over here, a bunch of stitches, and they're like, no, nothing came up on the scans. I'm like, huh. So we drove home. I remember I tried like because I
Can't eat.
I was like trying to suck like a chocolate shake through a straw, couldn't do that. I'm like, so the next morning, like, so I went to like a specialist or something, and they're like, dude, you're completely broken. So they plated this side, and then like my jaw was completely broken through here, and then I went through the molar or something over here, and yeah, so wired that shut
Bro.
for two months. That was fun. Lived on insures. I was talking to Larry. Larry and I were talking about this weekend because with his chemo and all that, he's got to get calories. So he's like insures. I'm like, dude, those things are the best.
Yeah.
So anyway, that was pretty much.
Dude, how brutal is it? Because my dad had to break his jaw and reset it. Something was out of place. When I was a kid, I was really young, but we ordered pizza one night, and he's like, "Oh my gosh, that smells so good!" So we put a piece of pizza in a blender, just to like give him a taste,
the flavor,
and it was like all just stuck in the wires and stuff. It was a total nightmare.
Oh,
Anyway,
that's
did you ever?
awesome.
I mean, food has to smell so good when you can't eat it.
I kind of have a wild story with that, which the insurers, I was like addicted to them.
Really?
Yeah, they were like, they were a tiny little can of like, 500 calories, whatever it was. It was like
Yeah.
a full meal and like a little thing. And I was just like, I remember Dad was like, they're expensive. Like, quit drink. I'm like, it's turning into nothing here. But yeah, I couldn't eat anything. But I think I was a senior that year, and I remember going out with a friend. We had some older friends that were in college or whatever, and they had their own apartment. And I remember I never drank or whatever, and they're like, "You're hurt," so literally drank a Corona out of a straw. I was just like, okay, I'll have whatever, and ended up my friend that was driving. We ended up just sleeping there, like he passed out on the couch, and I wake up to him throwing up because he was drunk, and then I was like, smelled the smell, and I'm like,
oh
and
no.
I'm like, I can't, and I always had to carry clippers with me, and they were in the car. And I remember going in the bathroom and putting cold water on my face, like don't go. I'm like, how do you vomit?
I never thought about that.
Yeah.
What happens? What do you do?
You probably choke on your vomit. I don't know. So yeah,
Bro,
I was like,
I've never thought about that.
and I don't think I didn't really register till after the fact, right? But you're just like, how stupid are you? Could KO'd myself over
You have to swallow your own vomit down
Yeah.
in enough time to breathe.
breathing in. Yeah. So that was my jaw story.
That's terrible. So 96 was kind of a bummer.
Well, it wasn't though. It was like so then I went to Mammoth. So we literally I got my jaw. The Loretta Lynn's qualifier was like I got my jaw, the wires cut like the week of the Loretta's qualifier. I went there, qualified for Loretta's, and it was like Brandis, Willow, Perolio, Nelson, whatever. And then immediately went to Mammoth. And Mammoth was everyone was there. Like this was Huffman on Factory Cowie, Hughes, Stingray was Honda Troy, Sellers was there, Casey Johnson. Like there was, dude, so many guys. And remember Caveman?
Oh yeah,
So
Mark Johnson.
Caveman, I went with Caveman to the race. We do the parade lap at Mammoth, and like Caveman, he's an interesting dude. He doesn't tell me anything. We get back to the line, and he's like, "Hey, you're probably gonna run low on fuel. Let me top you off." Well, he was putting the propylene oxide in. I mean, I didn't know. I was just like ignorant to all that stuff. But I'm like, you're the factory mechanic. Whatever you're gonna do. Did I hole shot and led half the race after like being off with a broken jaw. I remember Stingray passed me and I passed him back, and then the next lap, Casey parked me at the bottom of the downhill. So I think he still ended up like 10th, but I was just like, okay, like speed's there, we're good. Then
This is 96?
96.
Okay.
Then went to Loretta's, and Casey was on pro circuit. I think Ricky was on this, like, so they had, remember they used to do, like, if you race nationals and you had to ride the mod class pro
Yeah.
and the stock. So I think Ricky and Nick Way were in the stock class, and then it was like Bogart and Casey, Sellards, Skaggs, Clark,
Yeah.
the whole deal. And the first moto I'd just got in the lead and just took off. Casey got second. Yeah, just was just on, like riding really good. And then second moto, and I only had one bike, so this is where I remember my dad backing up a year. Pat Alexander got my Suzuki ride in 95, had 125 and 250. We rode in the sand, so my bikes would just get roached. They would just get worn out. So then the next year, I broke both my arms, but Pat was like, because my dad's like, dude, we need at least two 125s to make it, to make it through. Pat's like, we got you. And then contract comes, and it's like the same thing. And I remember vividly being there, my dad calling Pat on the phone with the little cord that's hooked to the wall. It's like 10 p.m. at night after he gets home from work, and he's just like, get the contract in the mail. Just motherfucker, Pat, you whatever. And I'm like, oh, there goes my support. Like, I'm thinking this. So anyway, fast forward to 96. I win the first moto at Loretta's. I'm like, all right, we're rolling here. And then second moto, I work my way up pass through a bunch of the guys. I think Casey was leading, Skaggs was second. Catch up to Robbie, and the track was backwards. And then in the 10 Commandments, I was like wheel tapping in. Nobody was doing it. It was really fast. I just caught like a edge in it. My bike like fell really quick, but it was like upside down and it wouldn't start. So I got up quick, got going, and I couldn't get going. Like, it took me a whole lap to get it fired again. Like, there was no compression. I remember it was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. And I'm like, so I went like 135, 3 or something like that, or 5 or something. So, but I was riding really good.
Yeah.
I was like, okay. And then I went that was right. That same timeline is when I started testing with Suzuki.
Okay.
So like,
I was going to ask when that started.
So it was before Loretta's.
Did Pat put that together, or how did that come around?
I don't know. Maybe. Well, it had to have been, because that was my connection with Suzuki. But I remember it was really neat because we went to Star West on the first day and there was no bumps. And I was like, and Roger was riding with us. Roger was there.
DeCoster?
Yeah. And I don't know if they were like trying to see if I could be like on the race team, like maybe a tryout. Like, I don't know what the goal was, because I'm like, I never tested before. Maybe they needed a test rider, but we went to Star West and I'm like, there's no like the track. I can't feel anything. I don't know. And I'd never tested before, so I wasn't really good or bad.
Was this pre-production bikes, or what were you testing? Like, what was?
Yeah. It was a stock bike, so it was pre-production. And then the next day we went to Glen Helen, and I remember riding with Roger, and like, dude, he was like keep up with me in the corners and everything, but he wasn't jumping. But I was like thinking, oh, dude, he's still gnarly, you know. But then it was cool because then at the end of the day, he's like, let's go ride the Supercross track, because it was Glen Helen and they had thing. But I had like I had one pair of boots, and the shifter side was completely worn through, like the sole was just gone.
Okay.
And so like, I'm like jumping the triple is like, in the rhythms, the G outs, I'm just like, dude, I can't do this. So I remember Rogers called Alpine Star right then, gave me his boots because they were the same size. And he's like, all right, called them and they shipped me boots. So I was like, oh, that's cool. It's pretty neat to be able to ride with them. And,
Yeah. It surprised me he was still that fast then.
Yeah. Like, he was really good in the corners. So I remember he was just like, his technique and traction just didn't jump.
Yeah. He was a bad man.
But yeah, so that was it. So we went to Loretta's, and then we went straight to Washougal, and I remember I did horrible. I just kept crashing, like the traction there. I wasn't, like, it was deceiving. I just tried to put it looked like it was tack, but there wasn't. You
Yeah.
know, Washougal is.
Washougal's tough.
So, and I remember I wore the baggy gear, me and Ferry. So I don't think Roger was appreciative of that.
Which one? Stiffy?
JT.
Oh,
So Dobie. So I was JT
that's
guy that
right.
year for
Okay.
'96. And then Dobie comes over. He's got to run it. Ferry's running. Ferry was factory Suzuki. So I was like, all right. So over the pant boots. Yeah. So anyway,
That's funny.
that was '96.
Okay, so 97, what did you do?
'97 I rode for Pit Pro.
Okay. Yamahas?
No, Suzuki.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, Russ Wageman. So
Okay.
literally Pat's like, hey, we're gonna continue your deal, but we're gonna have a team now. I'm like, I need a team. I need support. And I'd actually so at Washougal, I think is how like me and my dad drove. We drove to Ponca, drove to Loretta's, and then drove to Washougal, and then just it was rough. It was just a rough trip. My dad was kind of in a difficult spot and wasn't all there. And that's how I ended up Suzuki. I mean, San Diego. I just went with like Ryan Raglan had a place, him and Bender and some buddies, and ended up just sleeping on the couch for a season or
I think
whatever.
I came down to that house once. Did it have like wooden rafters, like beams that?
Yeah, in the garage.
Yeah.
Yeah, Second Street. Grape Street. Sorry, that was a famous Grape Street. So it was a townhouse, and Andy Harrington, his mom, and Caveman lived in this part, and then
Okay, that's right.
we lived in the other part, and there was the wall just separated. But yeah, pretty fun times.
Yeah, I remember that was maybe a nine. I don't know if it was 98 or 99, but I came down and you guys were, it was maybe a little party going on because Dobie was a buddy of mine. All you
Yeah,
guys, you know.
yeah. So yeah, so switched to Pit Pro. So I moved out. So basically, just came to hang out in San Diego um, after that race, and then ended
Were
up
you working anywhere? Or were you making
no.
enough money to?
Well, like I was saying, I lived at home, and and then I literally was sleeping on the couch. I didn't have a car, didn't have anything. I just went there to kind of hang out and then it ended up being I'd lived there ever since.
Yeah.
so so yeah, and it's funny because and then I was doing a little bit of testing, and then I got a contract with Suzuki with a salary. So at the end of that season, I didn't know what I was going to be doing, but they put the team together, Pit Pro. There was actually an East team and a West team, and originally I was supposed to be on the East team, and it was Bogard, I think JSR, and someone else on MSR gear. And I remember I signed an MSR contract for money. It was like $400 a week or something, but I'm like, hey, I don't.
I'll take it.
And then they ended up switching me over to back to the West Coast on Pit Pro for Wageman's team, and then I couldn't. They had to get out of the MSR thing, and it was no money, and I'm like, every penny I need, but they gave me Suzuki gave me a salary, so I had enough to at least pay whatever. I didn't have a car payment or whatever. Ended up getting a truck from Tool Time. Remember
Oh
Tim
yeah.
McAdams? And it was the Pro Circuit truck. Do you remember that truck? It was a little mini like Datsun or something. You know, that
Okay.
said it was painted Pro Circuit on the side and had
I don't remember that.
I wish I had pictures of it. Anyway, I bought it from Thule. You know, I don't even know how much. I think my dad might have helped pitch in, whatever. And then like right away it blew up on the way to testing.
Oh no.
Yeah, so it's like okay, and then I started doing good. So '97, the first LA I ran third for a long time. I was really sick that week, and yeah, just it was a cool team. Evans was on the team, Tyler Evans, Pat Foster, a guy named David Evil Sizer, and
Evil I remember that name.
yeah, but it was good because Russ was awesome. It was like I could go stay at his house, and he really had my back to help.
Where was he living?
They were in like Newhall, the
Yeah.
Newhall
Yeah.
area.
Okay. Yeah, I thought up there.
So yeah, he got the bikes were really like they did a really good job. And I didn't really have anything before this, so the reference I had was
Yeah.
we're doing our own
It was
thing.
a step forward for sure.
Yeah, so it was nice to have a mechanic and then a support system with me and to try to have a mentor to be like, hey, you got to do like someone just in my ear to try to help. So I think I started like fifth, passed into third really quick, and then Renard and Wyndham were kind of checked out, and then I was gapped out, and then I think Casey got stuck in the gate, caught the gate, so he was coming through. Villeman was there, and like Decker, I think they were like 4, 5, 6, and then eventually they ended up getting me, and then like 2 laps to go, I went off the track in the whoops. I hit like a kicker, but I still ended up ninth. So like, okay, top 10, now we're going, getting the ball, and then the next round I did really bad. I think it's the one Deegan won. And then the third one was of Glendale or Arizona.
Yeah.
Tempe. I remember I did one of those, or I did the triple and second on accident and like faced it, and like all the sweat and everything went, and I was like, oh, and then I like jacked my wrist up, but I think I did something to it, but I never got it checked out. I was just like, it's not broke. Okay, we'll just deal with it. And then the fourth round was Seattle, and that's the one Wyndham pulled out in front of me, and I just cleaned us both out. Like, do you remember that?
I don't remember that.
So
I was riding East Coast this year, so
Seattle.
that was ruddy, wasn't it?
Super ruddy. And in the heat, so I always had a problem with like I never would use my clutch, but I would modulate with the brake, and I would overcook my brakes all the time. I was really bad at that. And in the heat race, Seattle, my brakes locked up, and then so they scrambled. poor Foster. They pulled. I think Pat might have not been racing, or he didn't make the nut. Something happened. His bike was there, so they stripped all the brake line and everything off of his bike, put everything on my bike to go down the LCQ. Won the LCQ. Fast forward to like the next week, we go to test, and he had my old brake system. The thing locked up.
No way.
The brakes were like, and then so. But anyway, in the main, Wyndham had went off the track like on the first lap, clipped the hay bale, went off, kind of slid on the pavement, got up really quick, got back on the track, and he didn't really look, and he just like pulled on, and he tried to stay to the left, but like I was on the left side of the track, and I just wide open down the straight, just plowed him, and we just caught the foot peg on my thigh, and just had like crazy dead leg, and I think I got back to like, I don't know, 15th, 16th, something like that.
14th.
14th. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. But I was,
you were 8th in Minneapolis the next week though.
Yeah. I almost won the heat. So that was cool. Got, led the heat, past Corey Keeney, the local Minnesota guy. And then the crowd was booing me, but no, I led the whole heat, and then Villeman passed me coming to the white flag, and then Renard passed me on the last lap. So I almost won the heat. That was cool. And then, yeah, 8th.
So you only did one national that year, or 2, 3?
I just did it by myself. The team didn't do it.
Oh, the team didn't do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
I see. So you just did the West Coast stuff.
Yep.
So then going into 98, what did you do?
So this is where like everything for me went sideways. So I'm like, okay, I'm getting top 10s. The end of 97 season was, I had like 2 really bad races to end. I was like top 10 in points. I'm like, theoretically, this is my first season, because 95 I was 16, just wanted to get experience. 96 I didn't race at all. So like 97 is like my first real year. So I'm like, okay, 98, I'm like, I'm gonna get on podium. I'm gonna get podium. This is my goal. And I was told, you'll be on the. They were trying to figure out what team. They were like, are we gonna upgrade the Pit Pro team into the full support team? And they ended up bringing on Primal. So Pat's like, don't sign anything. You're gonna be on the Primal team.
And that ended up being Renard and who?
Dostal was on it, which he was the rookie, which I was like, which I love Jerry, but I was like, he's got another year to develop and whatever. So it was Ryan Huffman, which I'm like, what are you guys doing? Like,
okay.
So he was riding 250 privateer, like he was making mains as a privateer, but so they did was and Budman. So I remember I was so pissed. So I signed Pat's like, don't sign anything, because if you go sign a gear deal or whatever, then you can't be on the team. Don't do anything. You're on the team. And then I'm waiting. I signed my Suzuki deal, so I had my same bikes, parts, and salary. And then, but I needed a team. Like I needed, some support to take the next level up. And then I'm like, what's going on? Typical Suzuki, always late. And it was beginning December, and finally, we don't have room for you. I'm like, dude, now I'm totally hosed. So then I was like fired up. It's like, so we go to, remember the Chaparral race?
Mm-hmm.
So go there, and I literally knocked Huffman off the track, like I knocked Budman down, like caught his wheel, like whatever. I wasn't trying, but like I was coming to the pack, I was just pissed. I ended up getting like 4th or 5th or something in that race. And then the Wednesday before LA was the mud one, I think Tortelli won. We were going up in the back of the hills to ride a little mini supercross track, and I caught a tree, like it was like on the side of a tree. I caught a tree with my front brake, and it high-sided me and separated my shoulder. It was like the Wednesday before LA, and I'm like, still tried to race, and it was muddy and just a shit show.
Yeah.
And I was like, whatever. I made the main, but I was not good at all, and it just snowballed from there. So it was like that was pretty much it. The whole, you know.
Yeah. So you did kind of a handful. Looks like.
Yeah, I think I did
Sorry.
like Texas and so I went to Texas after that, knocked myself, got a concussion. Then I think I went to Arizona the next week. I think I made the main, but it just was not good.
Just a rough go.
Yeah. And then that year I almost won Mammoth. Um, Ended up like fourth, but Rusty, I was led the whole thing, and then there was like the downhill was super rough, and I was just going right down the middle, and then Jiri and I think Roncada, no, Holland, they were like going to the left, and there was no bumps, just wide open down the thing, and so they caught me, and I saw the line, and I ended up catching back up. Last lap past him, and then going across the start on the last lap. I'm like, just go. Rusty down the inside just caught the back of me and stood me up over the berm. So I didn't win that, but I was like, okay, kind of doing good. And I did me and Harrington drove the last like 4 nationals. I think I got some like just outside of top 10s. I think the last round I was 12th. I did whole shot Binghamton and was horrible.
Was this the years you guys would come through Great Falls?
Yeah, did all the race. We raced each other. Yeah,
Was like I thought they had a money race like at my home track.
yeah,
Was that right?
yeah,
And it was like long
yeah,
motos.
yes. And it was
Like 40-minute motos or something stupid.
yep. And it was just like me and you ride around, and Andy too. And we're just like, you got enough? Oh, I'm good. Yeah, I'm good if you're good. Like you got some time on me. Like we tap out.
That's
Yeah,
funny.
the Billings Fair Race.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
the Metro or whatever.
so we'd go there and make some fair
Yeah,
money,
yeah.
and then yeah, we did the last 4 nationals, and yeah,
Those are fun memories, huh? Like
yeah,
traveling around with your. Yeah, I mean the box fan days for me before when I was just Suzuki support. Those are some of my favorite times.
yeah.
I don't know. I guess it's before all the. I don't know.
Well,
It's
because
just simple.
everybody was in it together.
Yeah.
Like we did this in the beginning to go kind of ride dirt bikes together,
Yeah.
right? And then
Yeah.
it gets serious because you're making money and you're trying to be better. But then there's still element then of all the mechanics are working on the bikes in the hotel parking lots, and everybody's like, yeah, let's go play some basketball, whatever it was. And then
Yeah.
like, let's go, find where are we going to ride this week? And you find some new random place, some
Yeah.
guy's local track or backyard of his house, and and then you're bored, so you're doing little antics and pranks and whatever. So
Yeah.
it's like you're bonding in this cool way.
Yeah. It doesn't. I don't feel like it happens anymore. Like that was just a unique era.
Yeah, really cool. It's really cool to have so many of those memories.
All right. So take me into '99. Uh, who were you riding for that year?
Nobody.
Privateer.
Yeah. So obviously it was a bad year, and Suzuki was like no good, but I was still doing some testing a little bit.
It's funny because you did 2 rounds and you had your best finishes. You were 7th in both of them.
Yeah. So I had some friends buy Yamahas and let me race them. So Jeff Seifert and Giovanni Spinelli, because I didn't have a ride. I was like, what the heck? This is bull. So they each bought YZ125s, and they were like, you can build them, set them up, you race them at the end of the year, just give them back to us.
Okay.
But I had gotten an offer to go race in Germany. Dubach had gotten hurt, and there was a Red Bull Yamaha team.
Okay.
So they were like, hey, it was pretty good money to go show up and race. So I went to Dortmund and Kiel, and that was literally the start of the season. So it was like, you're going to miss the first 2 rounds of Supercross. But I didn't really have any money. I was
Yeah.
like, and I'm like appreciative of these guys putting this program together to help me. But I'm like, I got to do this. It's start money. It gets me some seed money to kind of whatever. So I went there, and the first night I ended up getting on the podium. Didn't even know. I'm like, went back to the pits. They're like, you got on the podium. So I went back, just a chaotic night of racing. But did you ever race Dortmund?
I did. It was like racing on molding clay.
Right? It just would move.
It was the stickiest. I mean, all of that European dirt typically is like that, but it was another level.
Yeah. They had little tractors that like they would remote control,
Oh yeah.
pack everything.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it was wild. I'd never been to Europe before, and Craig Anderson was my teammate, and he was leading the points. Didn't know what Red Bull was because hadn't been here yet, and So the opening ceremony was just crazy. Laser show, chainsaws, just in a velodrome,
Yeah.
just people going ape shit. And then in opening ceremonies, I was in the car with Craig because he was the points leader. And so we roll out. And I'm like, this is wild. Like, and then I go out and get on the podium. And then the next night, Mike Jones took us out. Blamed it on me, but it was his fault.
Standard.
The third night, I even make the main. Like, it's how crazy the whole,
I didn't make the main my first night there.
Yeah,
It was later in my career, like I was really retired, but I should have made the main. But the ruts were gnarly.
Yeah, and they would move. And the funny part was, so the Red Bull component of it, like it's an energy drink. So I'm like, before the race, thinking, oh, energy. And the worst side cramp. And then after the fact, I think Anderson was like, no, dude, you dilute it. Like, he's like, you just put a little splash of Red Bull and it's all water. I'm like, this would have been nice to.
Was it in a little glass bottle?
Yeah. I don't remember.
They started out coming in a little glass bottle.
It might have been. I don't remember. I just remember it was Red Bull and it was energy. And I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, I need some energy.
That's funny.
So
guzzled the whole thing.
So then I went to, did the 2 races and did pretty good. Like I didn't feel like I'd rode that good, but like 2 7s. I was like, okay. And then I blew out my knee.
Oh.
Yeah.
ACL.
Yeah. So I went, Seattle, I think was me and Ryan Clark I think Clark got me right. Like at the last lap or 2, me and him were 6th, 7th, and he got me right at the end. So I got 7th. And then the next one was Anaheim. That was the one. I didn't jump the triple all day, the one Casey got landed on.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you were in that race.
Yeah.
I think you were like podium or something. But I never did the triple all day. I'm like, I gotta do the triple. And then I was in that here. I literally was like right behind, like not right behind him, but I was like maybe 3 or 4 spots behind. I'm like doing it this lap. Like I'm just going for it. And like literally as I hit the little thing, they pulled up the flag and I was like, ah! So I never got to jump the triple because he laid there the whole time with the flag. So I did it in the main, but so yeah, I was, I think 7th in the main. So I was like, okay. And then the very next weekend, I think I went East Coast. There was one of those Mickey Thompson or like a ultra-cross type of event in the San Diego Qualcomm Stadium. And that Jeff Seifert, he had a YZF 400. He's like, race it. We're racing. We're going to do it. I'm like, you make some money and whatever. And never rode a 4-stroke before. Couldn't fire the thing up. And he let me race his bike. And you gated by how you signed up. And I signed up last. So you're on this grid start and I'm on the inside, but I'm like way back. And it was just, and you rode those things, I'm sure.
I did one. I won. I did one and I won it.
Yeah.
Because you would
invert.
You'd invert. And so I laid up in the heat because I didn't care about points.
No.
Right.
Be the winner.
Kyle Lewis and Brooks.
Yeah.
Those guys were all racing for points. So they wanted to win the heat, so they'd start in the back so they could pass people.
Yeah.
Because you made money and points by every pass.
Yeah, makes sense.
I'm like, I'm doing one. I want the whole shot this thing.
I'm gone. But you remember how icy, like the one?
Oh.
Because of the trucks and the ATVs and the 4-wheelers. So everything was like, there was no ruts. The jumps were reversed, whatever. So I'm like, how am I gonna pull this off? And I'm thinking my best chance
on a 400.
I'm like, my best chance is to bomb up the inside and just pinball everybody. Like, this is gonna be my best chance to pass as much people as possible. And dude, I sent it in there and down, like beeline down the inside where everybody's kind of coming in, and maybe described too much for a handphone for him. Right, dude, the thing went so quick, and I put my leg out, and the thing went. And I remember those. Yeah, it's the memories you have. I remember laying there, and I'm like, my leg's gone. I'm like, you do, and this one I felt like it was just extreme, the full, and I'm like, I'm in a ball and I'm curled, and then like all I could see was the big screen, and they were filming me from the back lane there.
So you're looking at yourself on the screen.
And also, anyway, so yeah, that was ACL.
Yeah, my leg's still there. That's good.
So that was my season.
Jeez.
So yeah. ACL.
All right. Well, if I remember right, 2000, you were on the AM Leonard KTM team.
Yep.
Okay. So how did that come about?
So was ACL, couldn't test, didn't have any money, ended up getting my bartender's license. I think I had just turned 21.
Oh yeah.
Got my bartender's license, got the job at some Italian place with doing that.
What does that entail?
You go to like this like a business building with like I would inside like a room. It's kind of like this, I guess. And then you got like teachers, and you run like do like a week course, and
They teach you how to make drinks.
make drinks, yeah, and you got like a test and whatever. It's pretty basic, generic, but yeah, and then you get a certificate, and yeah, and then you're licensed officially.
You can tend bar.
So then I got like a job at this Italian restaurant, and I was miserable. Like just the locals would come in, just that's all they did would come in and drink. Like, you're not making my drink just as I'm just cranky yelling. I'm like, this sucks. I'm like, I guess if you had a good place to work, it'd be rad.
Yeah, like part of me, the reason I ask is like part of me thinks, you know what, that would be like a fun job.
Yeah.
Maybe just like part time, like not if you had to do it, but
yeah,
maybe if you were retired, you're like, I'm gonna go.
yeah. If you found the place and you just could stomach, because like customer service is tough, right? People can be
Yeah.
assholes. So I was just like, and then I got a job on the Hornblower, which is like a boat that goes out in the bay.
Oh yeah.
So I got that job, and I was just already. I'm like, this is
So
not
were you like, I guess I'm done racing. I'm gonna do this.
No,
Or this
I
is just a way to make some
I
cash.
just needed some cash,
Yeah.
and which kind of bit me in the butt, I think, because that year KTM formed their team, the first year, the
2000.
yeah, and then when I heard about it, and they were in San Diego, and when I heard about it, like by the time I went and talked to them, they're like, well, we heard you were quitting, like you were over it,
Oh.
and I was like, no, I'm like, and then we already have like a team, whatever, and then I went to the Montreal Supercross to race. I got invited to go to that, and Joe Aloff was there, and he was working with the team, the AM Leonard. I can't remember.
What is AM Leonard?
It's a horticultural company in Ohio.
Oh, okay. So
And
Joe kind of brought that to the table.
yeah, he lived in Ohio, and I think he was teaching this kid, the guy's son. I think it's Greg was his name, I believe. And he was like teaching his kid, and then the guy was like, I want to do a team, and then ended up putting this program together. And then Joe raced with Joe at Montreal, and Joe's like, dude, you got 2 7s, like you killed it, and you all good, and I'm like, yeah, and then I went and talked to the team, and they're like, well, we need someone that has testing, because I had been testing for years at that point, 3 years at that point. They're like, well, it'd be nice to have someone that can test the bike and help us out. I was like, well, yeah, whatever, but I want to be race. I want to win. I kind of was a little bit offended, because I'm like, well, they were more like, we want you for your testing ability and not so much your race skills. And I think they were just kind of trying to prod me to do better, and like, like make me angry to whatever. Yeah. So anyway, we had to move to Ohio.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, in their we lived in their warehouse all together. It was like they should have filmed it, because it was we were all in bunk.
Who, you, Joe? Who else was on it?
Ryan Terlecki and Mark Burkhart.
Mark Burkhart
was it? But he was the one. He lived like close to the place, so he didn't live. He would go home every day.
Okay.
And we're like, you sucker. But then Joe,
I don't remember Burkhart riding for him.
Yeah.
He was like the man in Supermoto, him and Wardy.
dude, he like even raced Supercross, like, because he was really good buddies with Larry Pegram, and like he could flat corner, obviously, but like he would do corners, and you're like, dude, like we'd be at certain tracks, and you're like, he's so fast, and he was a good starter. Yeah. So, but yeah, it was fun. Like that's a whole nother experience of just
How were those bikes?
really fast. They handled inconsistent, and they broke constantly. I remember getting at one point in time just getting so over it, because I'm like, I could never practice, because the bike would always break. We didn't have parts, and I was just like, to start that season, I mean, I was stoked because I didn't have an opportunity. I'm like, great, I get to ride it for a team, got support behind me again, and go to Ohio, and Joe had like a track at his house, like it was like a mini Supercross track, so we would do testing there, and I remember I was putting down like the consistent fastest times. I'm like, okay, like we're good, we're going. And I remember they had a company that was a local company that was doing the suspension and engine, and he was like really proud of his work, which you should be, right? Whatever. And the bikes were fast; they just handled like shit. And they picked who was going to do east west. So me and Terlecki were, okay, you're doing west. So we go. We get apartments right near here somewhere.
Okay.
So we get apartments, and we all go stay here, and we go out to I think it was the track, La Paglia. I think he had the Supercross track out here. So we go there, and they basically sent all the bikes, and KTM wasn't going to give us any like factory parts, but then the last second they gave us some engines, and then they tried to trick. They basically said, "Okay, you're gonna go test, you and Ryan, and we're not gonna tell you which bike switch. Like, you test, you tell us." And I'm like, right away, I'm like, "We're racing that one," and it was the KTM's engine, and so I was probably wasn't too happy with me for that. But
Oh, the engine builder was all bummed.
it's you take pride in what you do, and I'm like, I don't know. And then I rode. It's funny because I rode Ryan's bike, and the clutch was slipping so bad, and he didn't even know. And I'm like, Ryan, your clutch is toast. He was just I don't know. I'm riding the thing. So, and then go to press day, or I don't know, practice day at A1, and do you remember that track? I mean, you remember how big there was big whoops.
Dude, they went under the tunnel, right? Or something afterwards or before?
Yeah, it was like
Yeah.
I think it was after the start, but the whoops
They were gigantic.
huge.
Yeah.
And then do you remember there was like a dragging back over a jump before a big triple?
Yep.
So on Friday, I'm stupid. I should have just waited, but I don't think. Did you ever jump over that thing?
The dragging back?
over
I
there?
was jumping up, doubling off.
So you were
pretty
double
sure.
off, yeah.
Yeah.
Because on Friday there was hardly anyone doing it, and then I went to do that, and my bike just like dislocated my hip.
Ah.
So it was like popped the thing out, and it was out for like 4 or 5 hours. They couldn't figure out because like, what's wrong with your right hip? And nothing. Anyway, they're like,
Is that
oh,
painful? I've heard.
dude, worst pain.
Yeah.
Worst pain.
Jeremy said that when he dislocated his hip. He goes, I mean, he didn't have a lot of reference. He didn't break a lot of stuff.
Yeah. No,
But I've had multiple people say that is like
it's terrible.
so
like
painful.
So it was out. I thought it was my femur. I didn't know because my leg was like sucked up to my. It was weird. My leg was like sucked up to my chest because of wherever it came out, and then like there's such big ligaments and everything. It like tries to pull it back in, but it's out. So got to the hospital, and then they weren't putting it back in, and I'm just yelling at them like they were just giving me morphine. It was just like rounding the pain, but it was still so. Like,
Yeah.
I was like, oh my gosh. So they had to put me under to get it back in. And then I had broken the kneecap too, but that was after. Oh.
Yeah.
So I get back to Ohio, and I'm by myself because the team's traveling. I'm not going to the races. And then I finally and they were like, you got to be careful about your hip because it can come out easy again. So like I was all nervous about coming back too early. The team was like, you got to race. And I'm like, dude, I don't want this thing to come out. I want to strengthen it up. And then, so I did a couple of the last rounds. I think I rode the championship round there.
Dallas.
Famous one, Dallas. I think I did. Oh, I did New Orleans. This is a great little story, but I did a couple of those. But like I was like, I just want seat time. Like I want to go ride practice, ride the thing, and then like if I'm feeling good, I'll race. And I ended up just not feeling strong, and I'm like I'm not racing the night, pull out. But in New Orleans, I just found it. I didn't think it existed. But Ross Maeda always teases me about this. So we do practice, and for some reason I was in the A practice, and it was like all the factory practice. It was like, and they used to do us with 250s and 125s all together.
Yeah.
And so
it was called factory practice.
Practice. And so we do practice, and then come in and they paste the times on the board, and I'm P1, and Wyndham was second, and McGrath was third. But the timing loop. So the start. So I'm like, obviously I'm not P1, 125. And I remember Maeda comes walking by, and he's like, dude, you smoked him out there. Like in typical, like his demeanor of how funny he is. And just the start, like you could practice starts, and then the finish line was right next to the start.
Oh, I got you.
So like I must have timed it just like perfect.
12-second lap time.
Yeah. So anyway, that was it.
Was the bike different from 2000 to 2001? I don't think so. I don't think much.
I don't think so. I didn't race it in 2001.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I was on the KTM team in 2001, and it was
fast, though,
fast.
right?
Yeah, super fast. But when it handles like a lawn chair, I mean,
it
doesn't really matter.
The
frustrating part was Gio was so used to it.
Yeah, coming from Europe. Yeah.
I don't know, man. Like he made it work, and he was so fast on it, and the rest of us were like, "How's he doing this?"
Crazy.
And we'd be like, "Bro, we can't ride this thing." And he's out there winning, and you're like, "Well, I guess I'll shut up."
Yeah, it's tough when you have that because you're like the bike, but then you're like,
it's not the bike, obviously. Yeah. that track you're talking about with Joe's in '94 when I was box manning around, that's where I met Joe. Do you remember a guy named Jim Danforth? He was a
Another
mechanic.
name.
He worked for Ezra
Okay.
at Suzuki in '93, '94,
Okay.
maybe. He lived in Ohio. We were buddies with him, so we kind of went there. And he goes, "Oh, my friend Joe Olaf's got a track right here." So we rode at Joe's. That's where I met Joe the first time. And then he and I got hired at the fire department together here.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
That's right.
So
Yeah.
we always laugh like, dude, how random that I
Small.
ended up
Yeah.
at your track. But that was what was fun about those days. Okay, so then you did all the nationals that summer though, yeah?
Yeah. So I didn't do really. I mean, did a couple supercrosses, half-assed, and then did nationals. I started like halfway through this series. I started getting like okay, like a rhythm and going, and I was fighting for like trying to get to top tens. I was close a couple. Unadilla, I was really close. I remember battling with Ernie. I was riding really good. I won the qualifier, and then, you know how they
Yeah.
if you weren't top 10, I won
Yeah.
the qualifier, and I'm like, all right. And then I think I think the first moto I fell and still got 12th, and then the second moto I was running top 10, and then I crashed. It started raining, and I ended up eating shit and having to pull off.
I,
So
I remember with those bikes, the chassis, like there would be if you in the right conditions it would work.
yeah,
You're like, man, the bike feels really good. And then you went to other conditions and it was like, what did you do to this thing?
yeah.
It's I
The
can't get out of my own way.
the window was you didn't even know what the
Yeah.
window was.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it wasn't a window, it was a glory hole.
Nailed it.
And you never know what you were getting through there. Um, okay, so the following season, '01, what'd you do there?
I didn't do anything. I just did testing.
Oh,
So
okay, this is when you were kind of full-time testing. Okay.
yeah, Suzuki basically. I was kind of frustrated with the team, like the way it was going. They were supposed to be the Suzuki team the following year.
AM Leonard?
Yeah, from what I understand, Suzuki was well, I know for a fact because Hide told me later, like he was asking me about the team, and so they were gonna let them be the team, and then they were gonna pull one rider from the current existing program over to the team. But I was just butting heads with the owner pretty bad about everything because I was mad about like they had the nicest semi, but then we had no parts and the bikes kept breaking, and I'm just like I was just getting frustrated and
He was all hat, no cattle, huh?
well, and then he like looking back, I was kind of stupid, young and dumb too, like I should have been, but he was like the training model. Hey, we're all gonna train together. You're gonna do football style. That's where he was a
Mhm.
football guy, so everything was football and and I was like lifting weights and all that stuff, and which I should have. I never was strong enough. It was a problem I always had, but I didn't know what to do, and this was the perfect opportunity. But I was like, there wasn't a lot of riding, and I'm like, I need to ride. I'm like, I need to ride laps, and the bikes kept breaking, and I couldn't ride, and I was just getting frustrated. I'm like, I don't want to go to the gym. I want to ride my bike, and so we just butted heads, and it's got to the point where I'm like, I don't care. Like, I remember being called in and they said, how do you, it was right before you know, how do you think you're going to do? And I'm like, I'm getting top 10. I'm like getting there. Like I'm building. I'm like, he said something like, the only way you're getting top 10 is if everyone falls in the first corner, like some snotty remark. And I was like, so we were just like, I'm not doing it for you. I'm doing it for me at this point. I'm doing it to go get another ride because this isn't working. But I should have been better because like, we had running laps and doing all the things. So when it came, I'm like, even if you get the Suzuki deal, I don't want to.
Yeah, I'm gone.
We're not on the same page. And then
Yeah.
I just kind of burn out, and I think I went to Germany again, and then, Suzuki was like, hey, we want you to race. We want you to be a full-time test rider. So they gave me like obviously a salary and then bikes, but I had to keep them completely stock. So it's funny because I just saw a clip of the Arm Cup in 2001 at Glen Helen, um, and the stock graphics, stock top pipe, like everything. But I rode one national on a completely stock 125. I rode Golden States. I went to Europe or did Germany races.
Wait,
So
what year? '01?
yeah,
You did Glen? That was on a completely stock
completely
bike.
stock bike.
Could you do the suspension?
I don't think I did. I
Oh,
think it was
jeez.
completely. They wanted because they wanted feedback.
Yeah.
So I remember I did like I won the Golden State Series. It was like me and Shane Bass and Turbo Reef. I won that with them, and they were like, I was like the old guy at that point.
Yeah.
You know, even though I wasn't. Um, but yeah, so I just did that. Yeah. So
So you were doing like a little bit of everything. Endurance testing on current models plus pre-production testing,
Not really
or
endurance, just all pre-production.
okay,
Yeah, so it's me and Rich Taylor and I.
okay,
We so Rich, they hired Rich as the full-time test rider in 90, I think it was 97. And then like I said, they had me do some tests in 96, and then but I was racing. I wasn't a test guy.
yeah,
And then they would bring me in to come do some testing, and I think just kind of Pete Murray was also the test guy at that time.
hmm.
And then it moved over to Rich as the full time. And then I just kind of transitioned to like every time they had a test, I was there. I wasn't like under contract to do tests, but I would, they'd pay me
Yeah,
per day,
yeah.
and then I would be there every day. And then it just transitioned into, hey, you give you a full contract, and then your job is
Were you an employee or
no,
still you were
still
contracted?
contract.
Yeah, okay.
So but they, had a salary and like a per day rate, or a set base salary and per day rate, and then they gave me a couple bikes to race and test with them. But I could do what I wanted, but I had to, when they tested, I had to be there.
Okay.
That's how it worked.
Hmm. Interesting. So there was something I wanted to ask you about that. Just make sure I don't have it in here. So on that pre-pro stuff, like there's times I've heard about this a lot where, because there's multiple pre-production models too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like this is version 1, then there's version 2 sometimes, and then whatever. Would you ever like with the last pre-production model go, okay, this is great, sweet, and then when it comes off the production line, you're like, what did you do? You changed something because it's not right. And I know that when it goes from that to production, there's tolerances, there's things that change, but like sometimes it's way off.
I never had anything that was like wildly different. There was, and usually it boiled down to durability
Mm.
and chassis wise. Like they would be like, hey, we had to stiffen it up because you had final settings, and then we ran it through durability, and it didn't pass. So we
Mm.
had to strengthen it in a couple areas, and then that can change the whole dynamics of how the bike feels. There was a little bit of that, but nothing ever wild. I know Taylor, he told the story many times about Honda doing that, and the first year went to when Jeremy, the
Aluminum,
aluminum,
yeah.
yeah, 96 to 97. It was totally different from what they tested, from what the output was. So,
Mm.
but I never, yeah, I mean, I don't recall anything. Yeah.
It's funny sometimes how they operate. Like we just had Jeremy on a Code Red show, and uh, he was saying on that 97, he goes, I didn't find out about it till like the 96 season was finished. He goes, I didn't even know they were working on aluminum frame.
Wow. Yeah.
They
Yeah.
told me and I wrote it. And he goes, every time I wrote it, I crashed. He goes, I've never crashed so much in my life. I think he went and did a couple Japan races, and I can't remember where else he said he went. Maybe a couple things in Europe. And he's like, dude, I crashed every time I raced it. And he's like, I'm over here doing pretty well for you guys. Like I've won 3 titles in a row. Like you think maybe you'd run by me. He's like, I'm pretty happy with my bike.
Yeah.
Like you think you'd at least let me know what you're working on. He didn't even know. He had no idea. And I was
Yeah.
like, man, that's pretty odd.
They have their own agenda that however they map it out, and
Yeah.
they don't take that into account. Sometimes, I guess, I don't know, but it is, yeah, it's kind of in hindsight, you're like, what do you, logically, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Um,
Interesting.
we would, yeah, I mean, testing, you do so many laps, sun up to sundown, and you're just sitting there a lot of times waiting. So Rich and I had so many times that just bullshit and, tell stories, but, we had some wild going to Japan, testing over there, trying to like when we were yelling about them to get the 4-stroke going, we're like, well, because everybody had a 4-stroke, Honda, Yamaha. And we're like, when are we getting the 4-stroke? And I remember we went to Carlsbad, and they're like, okay, you cannot miss this day. You have to be here. It's very important. We have some important stuff. And we show up thinking it's going to be the 4-stroke, the first 4-stroke. And it was like the aluminum frame, but it was it was basically just a Suzuki engine in the Honda aluminum frame. And we're like,
Oh, really?
what is this? Like, I don't know what they were trying to test something, but our engine actually made the Honda feel better. Like on Carlsbad, it just the power delivery of our bike and that, however they had it set up.
Huh.
Yeah, but yeah, I was just kind of like, can we ride this 4-stroke already, or what's going on? But
Interesting. Um, Yeah, and I feel like when they finally did come out with the 450 anyway, it was like they kind of crushed it.
Well, no, it was a 4-speed, and Ricky he willed that thing around the track.
Well, because the first 250 was the joint,
Hybrid,
the
yeah,
joint
that was
thing, and
not good.
that was a
Yeah, that was a
that
mess.
was a struggle. Like Mitch talks about how many they blew up hundreds of those bikes.
Yeah, that doesn't instill confidence.
Uh-uh. Okay, so you're full-time testing, kind of jumping into races here and there. You did a handful of nationals over the next couple few years.
Yeah, I was trying to be done. And then I would go, like, I would be testing, we'd be at Glen Helen or something, and then they're like, dude, your speed is the same as, why aren't you racing? And like just kept, and I'm like, because I always get hurt. I don't know. Like, I was like kind of mentally, once you kind of, and then uh, ECC did a Suzuki team,
Okay.
Mike Craig,
Yeah.
team manager, and then he's like, hey, we want you to be on the team. It was Josh Woods, Brandis,
Yeah.
maybe Turbo Reef. Can't remember.
What year was this?
Oh
03?
02.
02.
02. So I was like, okay, like, all right, like, yeah, get at least have a team to like, um, and then I remember going to Germany. I was riding, I like was just getting ready to be like, okay, but I still have this deal to go to Germany and ride Yamahas, and went over there and was doing really good. Like I was like riding good again, and I think Munich, um, Boniface and Metcalf were there riding for KTM. They were riding those 200s,
Yeah.
and they were like, I was like, that's kind of not fair because it was a tight little track. But I won all the heats and semi because the way they do it is you would race a heat and then you'd also have to race a semi and then you race the mains. I won all of that, and then got second behind. I think it was either Metcalf or Boniface won, and I was second. Came through, and then the next day won everything again, and then in the main, was I think it was leading, and I caught off the finish. I caught a going up the finish, I caught my foot on the hay bale as I was going up, and it ripped my leg off, and I went just a hard right off the lip,
Oh.
and I landed on the berm, 180 berm coming the other way, like just, and hip popped out.
Oh, the same one.
Same one. Didn't crash. The way I landed, I just came to a complete stop on the hay bales and the wall. Oh, and then I kind of fell over, and when I fell over, it like popped back in, and I was like, oh, and then right there, I was like, dude, I can't, like, I'm like, this thing's gonna keep popping out. So I remember I was all bummed. But then I was like, okay, I got back, got better, and then getting ready for A1, broke my wrist. I'm like, what the heck am I doing? Then I'll get back from that, and then go to the nationals with the team, and then I was like right inside the top 20, whatever. And then I go to Southwick, dislocated my hip again. So
Oh,
like
really?
yeah. I was just like, I'm
Out
done.
for a while. I had to go to the hospital.
No,
And
it
reduce
popped back in. Like it was lap one. Someone chopped my wheel down like one of the short little down straights, I think before the Buckley corner.
Mhm.
And I just did like a big step to, you step off the bike going fast, and I just step and popped out. And then when they rolled, they had to roll me over, and it popped back in. But I was out for a little while. I guess my leg was all not good. Um, so I was like, dude,
Brutal.
I'm done. I'm like, I just, and then we go back to testing. I get, whatever. And then Rich was like, hey, we should do the 4-stroke nationals, like in '03,
Okay.
So he lines up some bikes. I'm like, okay, this is fun. It's not as serious as outdoors or supercross or whatever. So I think the first one I got podium. I think Rhino won. Um, I got second or third behind Rhino at the first round, and then did like 4 or 5 rounds, and I was second behind Rhino, but then he pulled out. So then I would have been leading, but then Blackfoot needed a rider for Canada, and they're like, hey, we need someone for the 125 class. Their guy, I think Turbo, someone was, and they got hurt. So last minute, go up there and race for them, and then broke my neck. So
Yeah, and this is our seat concepts hot seat question. If you guys need something for your bike, new seat cover, anything at all, Seat Concepts got you handled. Check those guys out. Use our code WT26. Save yourself some money. I forgot about this.
Mhm.
And then as I was kind of prepping here, I read that. I'm like, oh yeah, this was like a pretty gnarly deal.
Yeah,
You broke a lot.
I got lucky.
Tell me what happened.
Um, it
Was
was
it the first race for them too?
it was the first race
Calgary.
in Calgary. No, Mission, BC, British Columbia.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So, I, so it was pretty crazy of a weekend in the whole. So I fly to the race, a couple days early or whatever, and we had to land and there's a puddle jumper. I'm by myself, and I go through customs and they pull me they pull me aside and they're like, hey, name, ask me questions, what's your height, whatever, and I'm like, tell them all the stuff, and they're like, okay, can you go over to that counter? I'm like, so I go over to that counter, and then tell them the same things, and then they're like, can you come in this back room with us? They pull me in this back room, and I'm starting to get irritated. I'm like, hey, I got to catch another flight to go to. I got to, coming for a thing, and sits me down. And it's like, what's your height? Do you have any tattoos? You know, where were you born? What's your birthday? All this stuff. Come to find out, and then finally, I'm like, I'm not answering more questions until you tell me what's going on. Come to find out, there's a guy, the same exact name, born on the same date, born on the East Coast, that was wanted for murder.
Shut your
But
mouth.
he was 5'5" and had like a sleeve tattoos and everything. So they're like, okay, I don't look, I'm good. No, I'm not 5'5". So yeah, so that was like start of the weekend, right? This crazy. So they gave me like this weird. I'm like, I'm coming back for the next 4 weekends in a row to do these races. I'm like, I can't go through this process, and they gave me it's like a golden seal like thing. I wish I would still have it. I don't remember. But anyway, I go to
Breezed
Canada.
you through security.
Yeah, and so I go to the race, and then Saturday I win like pretty good. The bike was handled so good, but it was slow. It was just the CR125,
Yeah.
but whatever. Um, and then yeah, so then on Sunday I I don't know, get like a 10th place start, and I was riding really good. I pass everybody, I get in the lead and check out, and like I start thinking about not what I'm doing. I'm like, what am I gonna say on the podium? Like not just lost. It was lost focus, and there was like a rhythm section, and to go three out of the corner, like I had to hit the rut like really good, and like it just wasn't. And the third one was getting rounded from people kind of clipping it, and I just kind of half-assed the corner, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna case it, and I didn't think anything of it. It was just a couple laps to go or whatever. And when I cased it, I was expecting it to kind of buck this way, and then it like bucked and went like this. It was like because the peak had like rolled, and like when I did that, my left hand came off. So when I hit the fourth one, I only had my throttle hand on, and like it just spit me in a somersault. But when I did a somersault, my head clipped the top of one of the jumps, so
Oh,
it like pushed my head forward, and
hyperflexion
yeah,
or
it's like it went too far forward this way, and I jumped right up because I'm like I'm in the lead, like I could get back to my bike, maybe still like okay, at least be top three, no problem, first moto, whatever. Took a couple steps and it felt like I stuck my finger in the outlet, like it just like shocked me, like I was like, "Ugh," and I was like, and I remember my legs were like jello, and I remember because I grew up with Decker when he broke his back in Vegas, he told me that he stood up and like his legs felt like jello. He didn't like have, and he sat down on a hay bale. And I just remembered that, and I'm like, oh my god, I broke my neck. Like, so I immediately like laid
did you
down.
have neck pain? Not
No,
right away.
no, it felt like like the whole left side of me, like it felt like was electrocuted. That's because something was pinching, and so it was my whole left, and it's on TV. You see me like grab my arm. I'm like, oh, and then I kind of like lay down, and then I told him, I'm like, the lady was trying to pull my helmet off, and I was yelling at her. I'm like, do not take my helmet off. And then Joe Skid, the Blackfoot crew chief, he comes over and totally saved my butt. I'm like, don't let her pull. Like I think I broke my neck. Like you got to stabilize me. And then yeah, so then he was instrumental in making sure that they did the right thing, and then they got me to hospital, and it was a little tiny place, and didn't really have good equipment. And then they moved me to a different hospital, and oh, I remember the first one. They were like, I don't think anything's wrong. I'm like, no, something's wrong with me. Like for sure, something's wrong. And then they ended up, the team was sponsored by WestJet, And so they got me a jet to Harborview in Seattle, like those top spine hospitals. And so they flew me there, and immediately whatever, and they're like, yeah, you 5, 6, and 7's broken. Like I think one was like there was like a transversion, something was, it was a mess. And then they immediately put the tongs on me, like drilled in. It was like,
Oh, they did.
dude, like, yeah, it was like, I remember how loud it was. It was crazy. I was just like in here. I have the scars. And then they put the hong and then put me in a, like in traction, and then in a rotating bed, right? So that was like so that your blood would move. So I was by myself because they flew me, so I had no one there. And the first night, and then I remember,
Jeez, dude.
this wasn't the case, but like in my head. So I remember waking up, or in the middle of the night, I think they'd moved me into a room, and my dad came like on day 2 or 3 or something. I can't remember, but at some point he got there. But um I remember waking up, and I was on whatever. They had me filled with who knows what. And I remember going, I have to pee. And I'm like, I gotta go to the bathroom. I have to get up and go pee. I'm so out of it. And I remember going like, oh, I've got something hooked up to my head. So I start like fidgeting because I'm out of it. And then like it felt like something shifted, and like it like snapped me out of it. I'm like, oh my God, I'm in traction. I'm gonna, I'm like gonna break my neck more or whatever. And because it didn't. There's
Yeah.
no way I can unscrew whatever was going on. But like I was just fidgeting, trying to get up to go pee. And then I remember like having a panic attack because I'm like, oh my God, this thing shifted. I'm like, so I'm trying to find the button, and yeah, that was so hell. Just
Dude, when this is so archaic to me. I just can't believe they just literally screw
yeah,
thread right into your skull.
yeah, right here above. I have 2 scars right above, and I just remember how loud it was because it was like,
Yeah.
because it's yeah,
Gostel told me about it. He said it was like the gnarliest thing he's ever had done.
oh yeah. So that was that. Got so, I mean, incredibly lucky, right? So then was in there for a week.
Didn't you break an L?
I did that in 2018, my T6 through T10
Oh,
testing. Yeah, so unfortunately that's what I'm good at. So, but yeah, so they sent me home. I like in 10 days they were gnarly. Like they forced me out of there, which was probably a good thing. I don't know, but I just remember they got me up kind of walking, and then they did surgery like a week later and fused out whatever they did. They put a cage and fused, and I have the scan somewhere. And then flew home like 10 days later, and I remember that was extremely painful because like the pressure, like laying down, it was kind of all right, but the sitting up, like the pressure, I just remember like the flight, I barely could. I remember just like I can't take the, like I was on the flight and you can't do anything. You're on the
yeah.
plane,
And what are you gonna do?
and I just remember going like I got to get off. I got to do something. I can't. I was in so much pain, but and pull it off. Whatever. Got to my mom's house, and then I was there for a little bit. I always tell this story. And then I'm like, I got to get back to San Diego. I had my truck there, and finally drive home, and I'm just like, I couldn't. So I would, if I had to change lanes, I'd like turn the signal on, like the little this, and slowly start creeping. Listen for horns.
See if anybody honks.
Nope, we're good. But I was like, I had to get home. But yeah, so that was that.
God
And
damn.
then there was like
What was that like for you? Like, okay, I'm done. Like, I'm done racing.
yeah, racing. I'd never raced since. Well, I've done like little like the industry cup.
Yeah.
I think I did like a local mini nationals race or something, but I've done like 2 races since then. Never really raced after that. Like at least that I even cared about. I was like, oh, I got to get
Yeah.
this pass. It was like it's
Yeah.
kind of like a fun race. So
Oh,
yeah,
man.
and it was weird because I was like I couldn't really do a whole lot. I remember like going from one room to another. It was like super painful, and I think it was swelling. Like at a certain point after so many months, like all of a sudden it went like it was like a quick improvement. I was
Hmm.
like, oh, like, and I think it was swelling
Yeah.
related. I don't know, but it just went to the point where like, oh my God, like I'm kind of, and
Yeah.
then they said like I wouldn't have movement like this way, and they're like I'm way ahead of everything they thought I would be able to do.
Hmm.
So,
Does it bug you at all now?
no, it's tight. It gets stiff. like if I sleep certain ways, but dude, I don't complain at all. Like that's too.
Yeah, you're right. Like it's lucky. Okay, well, let's take a quick little break here. That's a heavy way to end this first segment, but let's take a little break. This is your Toilet Designs Timeout, guys. We'll be right back here with more Chris.
Dedication to progression to the future of the sport.
Pro Circuit. Pro Circuit products are designed with one goal in mind: winning. Through passion and hard work, Pro Circuit has operated the most successful 250 team in the history of the sport. They use that same formula when developing exhaust, engine, and suspension parts for every brand. When only the highest level of performance is acceptable, trust Pro Circuit.
At Seat Concepts, our handcrafted seats are made in America. Visit us online or call today. Seat Concepts. Ride the world with us.
Something from nothing. That's what Nihilo Concepts is about. It starts with a spark, an idea, a concept, which leads to a design, and finishes with engineered excellence with the highest quality products created with durability in mind. All our products are made in the USA at our state-of-the-art facility in Stuart, Florida. Whether you are a weekend warrior, ride for fun, or at the highest level of competition, Nihilo Concepts offers innovative titanium, aluminum, and carbon fiber parts for your dirt bike. We offer a wide variety of products that you can customize to your liking. Browse our site for foot pegs, brake tips, engine components, specialty tools, frame grip tape, lever grips, carbon fiber components, motor stands, our secondary on-switch, plus much more. Head to NihiloConcepts.com and see for yourself why factory teams like Red Bull KTM, Rockstar Husqvarna, Troy Lee Designs Gas, Orange Brigade, Club MX, KLM Gas, and some of the fastest riders in the world choose Nihilo Concepts.
The inspiration for Element, interestingly, was from working with my coaches. I sat down with those guys. I'm like, hey, here's what I'm doing. What should I do? And they looked at everything and they were like, you need more electrolytes, specifically sodium. And like most people do when they have a coach, I ignored what their advice was. You're kind of like, well, I salt my food, I'm probably good. And it took me at least a year to finally listen to these guys and do what they asked me to do. And it was just a switch flip. It was just so obvious that this was the critical missing piece to the story. And it's ironic that this salt piece was like the linchpin, the keystone to making all the rest of that work.
Arc levers are the most durable and reliable on the market. They have the most premier class championships of any aftermarket lever. Arc is the only ratio-adjustable folding lever on the planet, and their patented design is precision machined in-house right here in the USA. The occasional tip over on the bike is inevitable. Broken levers? Those are optional. Visit arclevers.com today. Toyota has become synonymous with reliability, and for good reason. Toyota vehicles are consistently rated #1 by Consumer Reports and in customer satisfaction. Partner that with a dealership that wholeheartedly supports the motocross community, and it's crystal clear where you should buy your next car or truck, Toyota of Redlands. As a major partner of the BarX Yamaha racing team, as well as personal sponsor of many factory racers and a premier partner of the Whiskey Throttle Show, Toyota of Redlands is heavily invested in moto. Check out all the new and used Tundras, Tacomas, and other vehicles at Toyota of Redlands today. Reliability, performance, and customer service. Get it all at Toyota of Redlands. Need to replace something on your bike that's worn out? Look no further than ProX. These guys aim to make everything OEM quality or better at an affordable price. And they've also got some new products coming. So right now, chains, sprockets, anything inside the engine internally. If it wears out, Pro X makes it, and they make it at a quality level that's OEM or better.
The Specialized Science Club introduces the Levo 4. An electric mountain bike so advanced, it borders on sorcery. Together, you and the Levo 4 become a harmonious hybrid of organic and synthetic. It's a rider-enhancing machine that transforms you into a cycling cyborg. 720 watts of power and 111 Newton meters of torque, amplifying your mortal muscles, allowing you to bend space and time to your will. All channeled through futuristic suspension, with honed geometry, granting super control while traversing extreme terrain at hyper speed. With supernatural power delivery, you'll have super traction to conquer climbs where others spin out. And you'll tire, if at all, before the bike does, thanks to the Levo 4's super range.
Every good podcast show has got to have an underwear sponsor, right? Well, we went right to the top, Ethica. These guys make the best underwear. If you haven't tried a pair, you don't know what you're missing. Your life hasn't even started yet. So try a pair of Ethicas on. Go to Ethica.com. Use our code WHISKEY20. Get you 20% off. And give all of your nether regions a break, man. It's vacation time for the boys. These things are comfortable. You're riding. Your butt's not going to get all chafed. These things are awesome. And guess what? They don't just make underwear. No. Tees, hats, beanies, sweatshirts, shorts. For kids, ladies, toddlers, old people, everybody, you name it, they make them. You know what else they make? Moto gloves. I didn't even know that. I just found it out. So get over to Ethica.com. Check them out. These guys are awesome. Whiskey20. Use our code. Don't cheat me now. Get 20% off and put your buns in the best undies around. Ethica.com. The Whiskey Throttle Show is a proud partner of Factory Effects, a leader in the power sports industry for over 30 years. Factory Effects specializes in officially licensed products with everything you need to upgrade your bike, including graphics, seat covers, and accessories. They also offer the largest line of officially licensed OEM casual wear for Honda, Yamaha, Kawasaki, and Suzuki, so you can rep your brand on and off the bike. In the garage or at the track, Factory Effects has you covered with a full line of OEM garage and track gear, from bike stands and tie downs to bike mats. Factory Effects is truly made for the ride. And right now you can save 25% off your order by using the discount code WT26 at factoryeffects.com. Nano Extreme is a proud partner of the Whiskey Throttle Show, and we're glad to have them. This product has changed the way folks are dealing with pain, whether it's chronic or acute, and doing it in a completely natural way. When pain strikes, whether it's from sore muscles, stiff joints, or arthritis, finding fast and effective relief is a top priority. That's where Nano Extreme comes in. Capsaicin, derived from chili peppers, is a natural compound known for its ability to block pain signals and provide long-lasting comfort. Whether you're suffering from arthritis, joint pain, or muscle pain, capsaicin cream works by desensitizing pain receptors in the affected area, giving you targeted relief where you need it most. Consistent application can lead to better joint function, less muscle soreness, and improve overall comfort in your arthritis, making it a must-have for anyone dealing with chronic pain. So stop living in pain or taking regular NSAIDs and other anti-inflammatories that aren't good for you. Get Nano Extreme and stop the pain. The Whiskey Throttle Show is proud to partner with El Jefe Energy. Whether we're throwing a leg over a bike to go riding or covering supercross races and nationals, El Jefe keeps us firing. Early mornings at the track, long motos, or late nights wrenching in the garage, El Jefe brings the goods and 200 milligrams of caffeine to the party. Visit eljefe.com to check out all the flavors they have available, or go to your local convenience store and pick up a can. El Jefe Energy is fuel for the fearless. Welcome back. That was your Troy Lee Designs timeout, guys. And if you are in the market for gear, go check them out. All of their spring line is out. Stuff is so cool. You will not find better fitting, more comfortable gear. Paint department's cranking if you guys want to get some custom lettering numbers or a full custom lid. And mountain bike gear, they got it all. So TroyLeeDesigns.com. Check them out. Okay, jumping back in, dude. At some point, I know you worked at Tag.
Mhm.
When the heck was that in this whole timeline? And for how long? And what were you doing there?
Tag was
Was this when Dobie was involved?
he was at One Industries.
Okay.
So Tag Metals was the sister company to One Industries. So Ludo
Ludo,
and
yeah.
Mark Blanchard
Okay.
owners, and then Nan Guillaume Fort was the guy's common law married with Ludo, so she owned Tag. It was her company.
Okay.
And I guess like as I was testing, I was kind of transitioning into the business side, but still kind of doing racing. Like I was saying, I was doing the 4-stroke nationals, so that was 03. So it must have been 2002. Maybe I started kind of working for them
Okay.
a little bit, like technical manager. Harrington was working there. I don't remember what he was doing, but anyway, so that's kind of how I started working there. And then I was doing that, was testing, doing some odds and end races. Like I was doing 4-stroke nationals. It's funny because the White Brothers team was sponsored by Tag Metals, so I was the rider. I was like doing the rider stuff for those. So I was racing against like Paul Carpenter and Spud Walters.
Yeah.
Like, here's your product, and like
Then racing
against them, and so it was kind of funny. But yeah, I started there, and then just kind of did more things. I don't remember how long. It was a few years, maybe 3 or 4, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, and then so I was working there doing testing, and then I started doing. Red Bull had started the Red Bull Jams program.
Yeah.
So Dane Heron was running that, and then so they asked me to help come to the races with the riders. So they had like Cooper Webb, Justin Barsha, Savachi,
Jesse Nelson, Bisceglia, they were
well,
a
that
part
was
of that.
like
That was
the
after.
first year was like Cooper Webb, Barsha, Brandon Mays, and maybe Savachi.
Okay.
I think that was the first year. But yeah, so just go to the nationals, like go to Texas, whatever, and just help them if anything they needed from, riding, coaching, helping, whatever. Just kind of got some guidance if they needed it. So I was doing that as well as a contractor, and then also started doing the Nike thing, Nike 6.0.
Oh, okay. I
A
didn't
lot
know
of
you were
people
involved
don't.
in
A lot of people don't know that. I mean, but they had. Do you remember the 6.0
boot.
program?
Yeah.
Well, it was before the boot. So Nike, essentially they wanted to get into action sports, but they weren't like skate was so core. Like the skate was like, nope, Nike's just don't
too
do
corporate.
it.
Yeah.
Too corporate. We're core, And then Nike was, I guess, they kind of did some stuff like putting their shoes in Payless and stuff that like they built the skate shoe, and then it was like putting it in stuff, not making it cool and core.
Yeah, right.
So they had tried a couple times and it failed, the whole action sports thing. So they, a guy named Sandy Bodecker, they basically made a plan to go kind of go grassroots and grow into it. And they wanted the 6 sports, Nike 6.0, they wanted to get in with the grassroots athletes and kind of organically grow into those action sports. So, but the ultimate goal, and kind of told us this, was just to get into skate. Like they wanted to.
Is that right?
Yeah. So they got mentors for each sport. So they hired me as a moto mentor. And there was like skate, snow, BMX, wakes, surf,
Surf and moto.
surf. Yeah. So there were 6. So they, and my job was just to help them kind of understand the landscape of the sport, get them aligned with, the athletes that are coming up. And then, maybe the race series and media, whoever. So I was just kind of their eyes and ears into the sport.
So what fizzled there? Like, why did it go away? I mean, they probably spent a ton on that boot for Dungey and James.
Yeah. I don't think their ultimate goal was not to go. Their ultimate goal was just to be accepted into action sports.
Yeah.
Because they weren't. So they had to figure out a way to how to infiltrate without, it wasn't like if they went straight. They told me straight up, we do not want to be part of like a Ricky or a James, in the beginning, because they're like, they'll just look at us going, oh, you're buying your way into the sport. So they had a whole plan and it worked. I mean, But yeah, it was weird for me too, because we would go to the campus and they would show us all this rad stuff they were doing, and they showed the technology with like the shoes and like, and they had all these sensors and you could see how much. I'm like, dude, we could. And they showed us a snow boot. They were developing a snow boot that they were going to come out with, and I'm like, we need to do a moto boot. And then I'm like, I do testing on private tracks. Like, we could do this and no one would know, like, if that's what you're worried about. And they just, what happened was, so the first year they were kind of working with some athletes already, some amateur kids. And I'm like, okay, these are the kids that you want that are coming in. And so it was Dungy, Trey Kennard, I think like Austin Stroop, like that was the group coming up through. Anderson was one of them at one point. There was a handful, Blake Wharton, but anyway, so we get Dungy, and I was at the track when we were testing and they were trying out Dungy at Glen Helen. They were basically giving him a tryout, and I'm like, they're going to hire this kid. And it worked because the factory team didn't have a shoe sponsor, so he could get his own deal. So they line up with Ryan, and then he wins his first Supercross. So it was like, this is cool. This is all right. This is, and then the next guy was Kennard, and they got bummed out because Trey was going on to Factory Connection, and it was, I don't know if it was
DVS.
Etnies or DVS, one of those. And so Trey's like, I can't run Nike. And they were like, they didn't understand. They're like, wait, what? We're Nike. How do you turn us down? Like, and I had to explain to him, like, well, it's about the team. Like, you can't have, it's not you just, you have a skateboard or your bike. It's like, you have to have a full system. And so that kind of scared him a little bit. Like, oh, what do we do at this point? I'm like, you're just going to have to sponsor a team. And, they weren't really doing a whole lot. I think they were trying to figure out what to do, and just kind of fiddled out. And I was kind of getting a little frustrated with it, because I'm like, what do we, let's do something.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah. And then they ended up the boot, like, then they hired, I don't even remember who it was, but they hired the boot, and then they hired James, and it was like, oh, well, okay. And just
petered out.
Yeah.
You know what's weird, dude? Think about in the 90s and early 2000s, shoe companies probably spent more money than anybody in this sport. Etnies, DC, DVS, Globe.
Yeah.
Early on was Airwalk, was,
Yeah.
Everyone had a shoe deal, right?
Yeah.
Vans came in, sponsored Mitch's team. What happened? They're gone. No one has a shoe deal anymore.
Yeah.
There's a guy, we worked with him a little bit, Podium Shoes. They kind of partnered with Reed, and they're making a shoe again, but like, it's just gone.
Yeah, I never thought about it, but you're right. Like, what's the reasoning? Why is there not at least one?
Nobody.
And you would think now would be the most value in.
It's crazy, dude. Yeah, it's crazy. I don't know what happened. But yeah, they've all pulled out and they're gone. It's crazy. Okay, so when at Suzuki, like, how long, when did you go? What was this process from test rider to your position now?
08 crash. I didn't want a job. I didn't want to become an employee.
Oh.
Yeah.
The 08 crash. You mean
well, when the market crashed.
Oh, the 08 economy crash.
Yeah. So I had
So you were test riding and kind of doing these things all the way up till then?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I had working with Nike, Red Bull, Tag, test riding.
Kind of had your deal.
All these things going really well. And then 08, the economy, I had signed a 2-year Suzuki test agreement, and then the economy took a big endo, and all the companies simultaneously were like,
the economy went over the bars and broke its head.
Yeah, I taught him that move. Yeah, so that happened, and then so literally Suzuki stopped testing, and I had this contract, but we didn't do any, there was no days. And then so the contract in 10 was coming to an end, and Shoji was my test boss, Shoji Tanaka. He's always treated me really great. He's like, hey, they're not going to renew a testing contract, but we'd like to try to get you in as hiring in as an employee. And I was like, okay, well, I appreciate that. And then I was also like, I was kind of helping GoPro out a little bit, and then was trying to see if there was an opportunity there, and I think they were just getting funded or something, so they weren't quite ready to bring on staff, and I had a good friend working there, and anyway, so I ended up taking this. Suzuki then said, hey, it was when Roger went to KTM, or was going to KTM,
End of 2010, right?
yeah, and then Mike Webb was the off-road team manager, so they were moving Mike over to the race team, the Supercross team, Super Motocross team. And then they're like, hey, we need to fill the off-road team spot. So they brought me in as an employee to be the off-road team manager.
Okay.
And then and work with Shane Nowley on that.
That was kind of your start in. Okay.
Yeah. And then I was still testing. Like, so they were like, here's the salary. And I'm like, And
Wasn't that good?
Well, it was okay. But I was like, this is what I've been doing. And then they're like, well, you're also, we'll need you testing. So we'll pay you a per day rate, on top of that. And then my dummy self was like, didn't get like a minimum. And so we did 0 days of testing. And I'm like, got me. So anyway.
Got him. They laughed when you walked out.
No, but I had a job. So I guess I got to look at it that way. So anyway, yeah. So I got in, and then it was fun. Like Josh Strang was the defending GNCC champion. We had Shane Nowley was like ran the whole thing, inside and out. It was really awesome.
Who else was riding for the off-road team?
They had hired so that it was just Josh, and then I don't know what the reasoning was, but we were going to do a 2-rider, so we were going to do an XC2 and then so like 250, 125 or 250, 450.
Yeah. And
they hired they had a guy, Josh Weisenfels. I didn't know off-road, like obviously I knew the basics of it, but I wasn't like, I didn't know the whole ins and outs of like the whole depth of the different guys and rookies and all that stuff. But I actually was like, hey, we should go after Timmy Wiegand. But he was a West Coast guy, and they're like, the West Coast guys have it harder than the East Coast GNCC. And I'm like, I don't know. He's a brute. Like he's a grinder, and he's anyway. So we ended up going racing, and I would ride with the guys, and it was awesome. It was fun. It was like we went to Florida, and I'd got again a lot of respect for those guys because you without being on the track, you don't know. You're just like, oh, these guys are really good dirt bike riders, but you don't know to what level. Like I remember we go to the first race, and it was like Ocala, Florida, and they had these like tree palmettos, and I'm like, Strang's, he's like fifth and he's struggling, and I'm like, come on, dude, what's wrong with you? And then the next day we did it was really cool. We put a program together where Rodney Smith would come with us, and he'd bring bikes, and then we'd bring local dealers, and we'd go ride the track on the day after the GNCC, not touched. And Rodney would tell stories and whatever, we'd all ride. And I remember getting to the palmettos, and I was like, I gotta apologize to Strang, dude. Like how you go fast through these things. So anyway, but just the 3 hours on those courses, like those,
you never raced one?
No, never had done one.
I did Palatka, Florida, and opened my eyes.
Right.
And I got stuck in a rut. I came around one lap, it was good. The next lap, it was 6 feet deep, but I got stuck. Took me 10 minutes to dig my bike out, and so I was getting lapped late in the race. And I was like, I'm going to just, as the leaders came out, it was Rhino and somebody, I don't remember, whoever was with Rhino. And we're talking, this is 2.5 hours in. I'm like, I'm going to just hang on their wheel and see how, what the pace is. I couldn't.
No way.
Couldn't keep up with them. I was like,
through the trees.
Okay.
Dude, get out of here.
And after 3 hours, I died. I fell over in the pits and died. Those guys are beasts, man. Like
I rode one of the industry races that was at the Penton in
Ohio.
In Penton, yeah. And I remember we were joking because it was a morning race. It was a 2-hour race, and Josh, the group was friends with, I think it was Casey Martinez. She was like the women's winner champion.
Okay.
She was really good. And they're like, at breakfast, they're like, she's gonna beat you, and I'm like, no. And then we take off, and it was like you went on the moto track. That was funny because there was like a rhythm lane, and I was like the only one doing the like tripling and whatever, but like that didn't matter. Then you had another.
That's neat for one little section. Yeah.
So we get out in the woods, and I remember I got like stuck on a hill, and then I'm like then I get going, and then I'm like, because I wouldn't wait. Like, you'd get into a crowd, and I'm like, dude, come on, we got to go. And then I'm like I'll go over here, and I'd get stuck, and then you're in the trees, so there's no shade, or it's all shade, and it never gets dried up, so it's always greasy.
Yeah.
I got caught stuck again, and then I remember, like, sweating, goggles off, like trying to pull my bike up, and then here comes Casey, just burp, 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 burp. And I was like, you got me again.
She is gonna beat me.
Yeah. So good on them.
Respect.
No,
okay, so
big respect.
you did that for how long? How many years?
Just 1 year. They clipped it.
Oh, okay.
Just halfway through.
Was Nathan Woods, was he before that?
Before.
Okay.
Yeah. He had already passed away at that time. Yeah.
That was tragic.
Yeah.
Okay, so then where'd they put you?
They moved me into product planning, R&D.
Okay.
Which I knew all those guys anyway. I'd already been working with them.
So I gotta say, at this point, product planning, just a blank screen. Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, we did, like, I was like, I would do ATV stuff. So, like, I almost sent you some funny photos of us. We were like up by Sunrise, up in the mountains up there, testing ATVs with racks on them, and I'm jumping them and hill climbing, and then
well, and there was one year, you took some 2-strokes back to Loretta's that you guys had built, and you were making a push pretty hard to bring back a new 2-stroke in the aluminum frame, right?
Yeah, it didn't end up well for me.
It didn't go anywhere, but
well, that's what I broke my back on.
Oh, really?
That bike, yeah.
Oh,
so that's probably why I didn't go anywhere.
What happened?
Shut off going up the step up at Paula, the big step up in the back.
Ugh.
Yeah, so
that'll do it.
Yeah.
Okay. So then what? Like,
so I was in product planning, and we moved to Irvine because we were in San Diego. Got married in 2011 during the off-road season. And my wife and I,
you live in Irvine now?
No.
Oh,
we moved there. So, like, they hired me as an employee, and I'm like, the office is in Brea, got to work there. So, my wife and I moved to Irvine. We lived there for 4 years or whatever it was, in product planning. And then in 2015, I'm like, we're not doing a whole lot. I was kind of getting frustrated, and I'm like, this isn't, like, what am I doing? It's not what I came here for. This is like totally like left field. Just wasn't my thing. Like, I don't know. I wanted to be involved in racing and all that, and action and all that stuff. And then on top of that, product planning was cool, but we weren't doing much. I was getting to do some road bike stuff, do a little bit of road testing, ATV. There's different stuff, and I was learning different things. But I never was like mechanically inclined. I wasn't like, that didn't drive me to be like, I want to understand the ins and outs of that, like computers and all that. I'm super into. But anyway, and then we were like, okay, let's take a different path. And so my wife works in biotech, and there's a lot of biotech in San Diego. So she got a job in San Diego. So we bought a house in northern San Diego, and I'm like, I'm gonna just find something else and take a different get a different job, and had interviews. And then they came to me and said, didn't know that I moved, whatever. And then they said, hey, we're going to restructure the race department. We're going to have Pat Alexander he's going to focus on road. We want you to focus on dirt. And I was like, okay, well, that's what I came here to be involved in. And, all right. I'm like, but I moved to San Diego. And they're like, no. And I'm like, I can't drive. I can't do the commute every day. I'm like, but I'll go to the races and stuff. So it was like, okay, well, you can come in like 2 days a week and then obviously go to the races, and should be all good. And then I didn't get anything riding. And then literally the VP, he left and went somewhere else. And then a new VP came in and it was like, nope, I need you in here. I need you in here until I get up to speed. And then that set the tone. And then that was like a constant, like, I became a zombie driving back and forth. And I'm like,
what is that?
It's 84 miles door to door from my house to
in traffic.
Yeah. There's a little breather in through Camp Pendleton, but still like, you never know what you're going to get in California traffic. Right. So, so that was so I took that job the middle of Supercross 2016. So early 2016. And that was when Kenny was on RCH, and he was just started to catch fire. They'd switch the bike all around. So I jump into that job. Kenny finishes out Supercross. He wins like 4 of the last 6, or I don't know, some good, like he's on a roll.
Yeah.
Goes into outdoor and completely smokes him. Just wins 20 of 24 motos or 21 of 24 motos. And it was funny because on the podium, so this is 2016. So he wins the championship at Budds Creek. I'm like, yes, this is easy, no problem. Team, race team guy, whatever. And I remember getting up on the podium, and I think it was Sergio, the chassis guy at RCH. He looks over, everyone's like, yeah, number 1. Looks over, he's like, hey, just appreciate this because it doesn't happen all the time. You may not ever do this again. And then I'm like, so it's funny. Fast forward 10 years to this past weekend, and Kerry Hart was there, and I was like, last time I did this was with you.
Yeah.
Because so that was what started the whole race manager at the time. And it was just dirt. It was just dirt. So so then so that was 2016. 2017 I did the commute full on, and then 2018, the beginning of 2018 is when I broke my back testing. I wasn't kind of supposed to be testing, but
so what did you break this time?
T6 through 10. The first, and my neck was C5, 6, 7. Yeah. So
same thing. You have cages, rods, or whatever.
It's fused, and then they had to go in later and fuse L5S1, the very bottom, because I was, after a year, I was like, something's still wrong. But yeah, so we.
Gosh dang, dude, you're all like.
I know. It's like, but we were basically. I was frustrated at that just because they needed to hire a test rider because they moved me into, like, I was the race team, and then.
But you're also testing.
Yeah, and then they needed to fill, but like we're always just short staffed and save the money, whatever. But we were trying to get, I knew we had a 450 and a 250 coming. I'm like, we need to, get some amateur kids, but there's no middle ground. Like you get off the 80s and then you go to the 250F, 250Z. And we knew the new bike coming was the down frame was higher where it's split for the pipe, so you could put you could pretty much fit a 2-stroke engine in there. So we were like, we could get Bar X was doing the amateur team, and we're like, we could get a really good amateur kid and then kind of help develop a program where we can onboard kids from Super Mini or whatever onto, to transition into a 250F or 250Z. And so we hired Jarrett Fry. And then we did a 2-year deal with him, or Bar X did, but we helped. But we did a 2-year deal so that the first year would be this prototype aluminum frame 125, and then the second year would be B Rider. And we wanted to give him enough runway to be like, not as a first year trying to get this program running and everything. And then the R&D department was, going to help the team with getting the bike set up. And it kind of was a little bit behind, and we were like, we needed to get it done. And there wasn't a test rider, and they were kind of having RJ Wageman test, but they didn't hire him. And so it ended up like, we got to get this thing done. And so we got it running, and then I went and was like, I need to run it through its paces before we put a kit on it. You know what I mean? To make sure that it's right. And just, we went to like Sunrise, and it was all good, fine, whatever. And went to Paula, and I don't know. I still don't know what happened. I don't know what happened to the bike. But I was going around the back, and you remember Paula,
the old
the
big step
up in the back. It was like on 125. It was everything, just like everything you had to get to the top. And like as I took off, I just like, and I don't think it. They said it didn't lock up. I don't know. I literally landed, and that was it. But I had stepped through the bars, and as soon as I hit, I'm like, broke my back. Like broke like seven ribs. I was like,
how did you land on your feet?
I think I lawn darted, but at the top. So luckily I made it to the top. I think I hung a foot when I stepped through. And then I army crawled to the side of the track, and I'm like, call life flight, whatever. So then I went to Palomar, which is right by my house actually, hospital. And so they fused T6 through 10, and got lucky again.
Yeah. Do you ride anymore?
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope. Never ridden since. Like I'll ride some adventure stuff. Like I had someone go on the track.
Yeah.
I'm like, I can't put myself in that position.
No.
So, but dual sport or whatever is chill.
Yeah.
And then mountain biking. Like I love mountain biking.
Gnarly, dude. So I kind of thought, like it seems like, and I went back and listened to the DeCoster Whiskey Throttle Show episode we did, and he was talking about when he left for KTM. And I said, I wanted to go back and hear what he said about why he left. And he said, like the season was kind of clipping on, and he was waiting for them to do something. He goes, we wrapped up the championship, I think it's Southwick or somewhere. And he goes, I thought they were going to come there and offer me a contract. He goes, they didn't show up. He goes, so I finally asked, because Dungy was asking him, hey, you're set for next year? Because he had one more year. Mm-hmm. And Suzuki basically offered him like a 10-month contract, and he felt insulted, and so that's why he left. So it seems like right at about that point, going into 2011, it seems like Suzuki kind of lost interest or something changed. And really, since then, they haven't really gotten their passion back for pro racing or amateur racing for that matter, right? Like just racing in general. Like, what do you make of that? Why that shift?
Well, I would assume the economy, like go back to the crash, like shortly after that, right?
Yeah,
And I remember there was a lot of restructuring. Like I don't know what year it was, but and Suzuki sometimes doesn't do themselves any favors with like this is one example. Like they did a bankruptcy, but it wasn't for financial reason. It was because they had to get rid of the automotive. So they had automotive in the U.S. for a little while. It's just a crazy tough market with emissions and all the stuff you got to run through, right? So if you're running an assembly line with cars going to India or wherever they're going, and there's this big profit margin, and then you stop the line to put a U.S. car on there, you're just losing. It's like this just doesn't make sense. So I would assume that like that was they did the bankruptcy to kind of split auto off and do that. But then they're sending out all these bankruptcy letters by law you have to do, and everyone's like, oh, Suzuki going bankrupt. It's like, no, they're not. It's a restructuring, and they're just things like that. But I would guess they just pulled back from business, pure business, profit and loss, and hey, we're spending all this money, and then we got to reallocate it. It's just I don't really know what to say.
It's business.
Yeah. I'm assuming Roger probably demanded a hefty paycheck, which it's the man. So, but like to his point, I think what happens a lot with Suzuki, which is challenging, is this like going back to even myself with the primal impulse thing. It's like everything's always drug out so long. It's like there's a lot of collateral damage in that you're waiting. If you wait too long, you get hosed. Mm-hmm. So like I deal with it constantly. It's like I was so frustrated with Pat when that happened, and then fast forward to then I'm in those shoes and I'm like, I get it, Pat.
It's not Pat.
Like, yeah, I get it. Like Pat did things, unique ways and certain things that I'm like, but like I understood exactly what I'm like, oh, now I see what, the hurdles that you had to deal with. So it's a tough position to be in, like to navigate, partnerships and relationships you have, and you're waiting on bosses and upper management. And it's just like, dude, and you keep, and like right now I'm the face of it all. So I have to, like, I'm managing both sides. It's challenge. It's tough, trying to, hey, that's happening or we're working on it, whatever, but trying. So I'm sure Roger probably had seen that. It's like, I can't wait,
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Interesting. Is there any talk about like an amateur program again coming back? Is that in your guys' conversations at all?
We help a couple kids right now. Chase Brennan, maybe you've probably seen him. He's a little ripper on the RM85. Right now we got to walk before we run. I mean, this is the whole thing. We got to get, I'm sure if there is a new product coming, it would make sense to do something. But right now, I would say no. That's not the immediate like. Yeah,
it's not something you guys are. Yeah,
like we had like Tim Castrone. He helps out a ton with a lot of this stuff, and he's picked up the slack in that area because like we had a whole amateur team. Our last official like full team was I think 2019, and it was Casey Cochran, Julian Beaumer, Landon Gordon. We had like a stacked team, and then just that pulled all the budget. So
kind of shifting gears. I'm curious what your thoughts are on the sport in general right now, like from an amateur standpoint and just local riding and racing to pro? Where do you see it in terms of health and like, I don't know, I guess just in general?
Honestly, I don't really know. The amateur side, I haven't been, like I said, I haven't been. I do road racing, I do drag racing. I'm like spread in so many different ways.
Yeah, I get you.
And I'm not trying to say that as like, oh, I don't care. I totally care about
You can only
each thing, but
know so many
yeah,
things. Yeah,
it's
I
like,
get it.
so on the amateur side, like, I mean, it's expensive. It's like, where are we riding? Keep the tracks open. All those things are all important.
I feel like racing, there isn't as much racing.
It's not. That's the
Like you and I were just looking at Transcal and GFI and Golden State and, Night Series. Like you'd race all the time.
yeah. It's a problem.
That's a problem.
Yeah.
And now it's like Loretta's, Cal Classic, Mammoth, Texas, the Spring of Ding, Mini O's, and Loretta's. Ponca is kind of even washed away. So
Well, I think
you could cut off a few fingers and count on your fingers how many big events there are, and that's it.
Well, I think if you break it up into, like the different phases of amateur racing, like grassroots fun to kind of a little more serious into pro and all that stuff, there's certain areas that are healthy and been big improvements. I totally agree that like the local scene, that was what we did. That's what brought all these people together as families and be able to just ride your dirt bike and not have care in the world. And it was not all this troubles. That doesn't exist anymore. That's how we'd make money in contingency. That's how like I survived some of these years going I'd race Supercross I remember would go like in 97, I would make a couple grand at Supercross, and the next day at Golden State make another couple grand, And so it was like, but where do you go? That doesn't exist really as like it did. So that's a problem from the standpoint of, being able to transition kids better into pro. It's way better. Like the whole ability to, cause I would be involved in some of those meetings and we'd all talk and try to figure out like helpful ways. Cause I would take my own experiences. Like we talked about going down, I was just shell shocked when I'd go down to my first professional Supercross and I'm like, oh, like where we practice in the desert. Like
we'd literally never seen a track.
No. And how do you exercise? How do you hydrate? How do you eat? Like just none of that. Like I'm just crazy. We just wung it, but we all were in the same boat. Most of us, right? That we just had to figure out. Some people had better access than others. So that's a lot better. There's opportunity to get your feet. Cause me, like, I feel like when I went too early and it was more of like, my dad's like, you got to go make some money. You got to whatever. And I feel like I went in there, I made the mains, but what was my goal? But I remember like, Pat was like, how do you think you did? I'm like, I made the main. And he's like, like he didn't. He's like totally bummed on my result. And I'm like, I just turned 16. I'm in the main. I'm getting experience. And I feel like because once you line up, they don't care how old you are. Once you're on the gate, you have a helmet on. Nobody knows your age. And I was like, I don't feel like I was ready until really like 3 years later, like when I was on the pit pro team. And then almost like the very next year, I got clipped, and it was like I feel like Pat had thought I'd already run my. Like, hey, he's already had his chance. But I'm like, I really didn't. You know what I mean?
That was kind of the thing then, though. You had like Bradshaw, you had, Renard come in. A lot of the guys just came in really young.
Yeah.
Stewart.
Right.
Who would have been a little later. But it's like, that was kind of like.
Well, those guys, though.
Normal.
But they were so legit. Like, they were already,
they were special.
They were special. Yeah. And there's a handful of those guys. But now, the point I was making is that you can go get experience on the Supercross track in the lights under the crowd. You can go to an outdoor national and ride the actual track, on whatever. So you can kind of get your feet wet, and then you have, there's way more access to information and training and hydration, all that.
That's
crap.
all way better. You're right.
So that's hopefully keeping safer. But I mean, and then you watch, what was it, Anaheim, the SMX Next? They put them out in the. It was like they put them out like their main was like after. It was like the roughest part, and then that's a big carnage.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh man, what are we doing? We got to build these guys up. We got to keep them healthy. Anyway, so from that aspect, it's that's the right direction. You have a better chance of keeping these guys in the sport and career. From the grassroots side, yeah, we need ability to have more local racing. These, there's so many of these camps,
Puppy
farms,
mills, yeah.
like there, that I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just thinking maybe it's too much, or maybe, it's almost like you should go sample there for a little bit and then maybe go, like, I don't know the answer. I just something's off.
Well, there's as a racer, there's a certain skill set you learn racing.
Yeah.
Your racecraft and just comfort, in that environment. And you might get a little of that, simulating races at those camps, but it's different. But you miss the camaraderie side of it, the enjoyment of it, the family aspect of it.
Yeah.
Because like you said, I mean, being at the races and somebody's bikes break, my dad was the same way. Like, he would let people ride my bikes all the time. And I'm like, really?
Bro.
But he was just it's like if somebody needs something, you help them, and we made a lot of friends that way, like those kids were my buddies and
absolutely
our family friends growing up. And that doesn't happen anymore. So there's a disconnect. You know what I mean? I don't know. Just different. Just wanted to get your take on it. So tell me about your family, dude. So one daughter, what is she into?
Dance.
Oh, she's a dancer.
She's gnarly. She's
better keep that on the right track.
Oh man. She is like way more dedicated than I was.
Really?
Like, yeah. Like, I'd look back at the things that hindsight, you're like, what could I have been better at? Whatever. Dude, she's always been into dance little. It didn't come from me. It didn't come from my wife. I don't know where. Maybe the mailman. Who knows? But in all seriousness, dude, she loves it. She's dedicated. She's 4 days a week. They were in Portland this weekend, so it was kind of crazy because the series or the competition that she's in, they do like, so she has solos. She's a solo, and then she's like on team dances, and there's like 80 to 100 kids that's competing, solo. So it's tough, and there's kids that are homeschooled. It's the same
deal, same
deal.
stuff, yeah.
And it's like serious, and she hasn't got like, so the way they do it is you do your solos, and then they take they score everyone, and then they basically call the top 10. So if you get top 10, you get basically recognized, and then only the top 3 get trophies. So you call the top 10, and then they get to 4th, and then they go, okay, and 3rd. And she'd never gotten like a top 3 in the harder series or whatever. And then so on Friday, and she's like, I need to get there. I gotta get. She's like fighting for it. And so on Friday this weekend, where I'm in Salt Lake and we're sitting there in the tent, and I get a FaceTime call, and like it popped from my wife, and I pop it up, and it's her holding 3rd place trophy, and I'm like, yes, you did it.
That's a good night for you.
So yeah, so it was funny, and then Kenny was warming up on the air bike, and I was like, I went over there and I'm like, show Kenny your trophy. And I'm like, she got her first podium. I'm like, all right, now it's your turn. You got to, so it's kind of cool. Like and for me, I was selfishly like, this kind of sets the tone. Let's go. We got the ball rolling, so you're trying to think all the positive things and project it on the team. So it was neat. It was just like a really cool, like great weekend for me.
How old is she now?
She's 12. Yeah.
Still young. Yeah.
Yep. But
that's awesome, dude.
She's into it. She'll have like 4-hour day, and then she'll come home, and then you hear her upstairs like still like, dude, are you not tired? She's still working on something, and yeah, she's hungry for it. So
do you guys go do anything else for fun, or is it life just dance?
This year, not. We hadn't done. We usually would go to like Maui every year or Hawaii. So what we would be our thing, but we haven't gone in. It's been like 2 years. Just we've been so busy with dance, and obviously this season was hectic. But it's usually, it's literally just work and dance, and then like I've been trying to do some mountain biking. Stay consistent is hard, but like last year I did Sea Otter, Enduro.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, Enduro, and then a couple other events, but trying to just, my body's just so like, my hips are sore. And
I know, dude. The problem is you got to keep moving.
Yeah.
Well, our age and with as many injuries as we have, if you sit still too long,
yep,
you just like lock up.
It's hard because like we have a group that rides, and like I'll if I can get enough rides in a row, like, you know, X amount of months or days or whatever, I'm like, okay, because where I live, it's all in the hills. Like we ride straight from our.
Are you guys riding acoustic bikes?
Yeah, and it's straight from the garage, and you can go. There's 3 mountains like La Costa, Double Peak, San Elijo Hills, and basically there's a lot of cool trails, but you're doing a lot of climb, like you do. You know, it's like it's like for 10 miles you're doing 2,000 feet of climbing. Like it's two times. So but it's great. You know, it's like fun exercise.
Yeah.
But if I miss a little bit, dude, it's like start all over, and I'm like, yeah, I can't. I hate people are waiting on me. It's like, you know, but whatever.
Yeah, well, it's a suffer fest on those. I find myself on my electric bike more.
Well, that's what I was kind of getting at. Like in the future, like, I mean, everybody in mountain biking was like, e-bikes suck, screw those guys. And now everybody's kind of like, well, you can get more riding in and have more fun and not, you know, put in an eco mode. I'm like, yeah. So that's the way to go. You know, anyway. So
yeah. Do you guys, what do you do, like, other than mountain biking? You guys got anything else you guys like to do as a family? Like, what's your wife into?
She actually rode with us. She would ride a little bit, but she stopped. Honestly, she's my daughter. The dance thing. She works very hard. She's a super hard worker. So she's had a lot of really good jobs and companies. I see why companies like always headhunt her, because she makes things happen. And the same with my daughter's dance. Like she's not like the mini parent where she's like overbearing. Like we work really hard to like give the studio space and be like him, but it's pretty cutthroat with a lot of the moms and stuff. But my wife's trying to learn and be like, how, you know, it's like I try to come from the sport side, and like she don't want to listen to me. She's like, Dad, you don't know anything about dance or whatever. And I was the same way with my dad. I'm like, I'm thinking back, should have listened to him on certain things, you know, but it's your parents, whatever. So I try to help her with like just her mentality of like, hey, you have to believe in yourself. Like it's a judge sport, so it's hard, it's frustrating. I'm like, how do you? It's so subjective. But my wife is good about studying and going like, okay, well, this is kind of a, you know, this style or this teacher or whatever. So that's her thing.
Analyzing it, a little more.
She kind of helps Caitlin, you know, just give her the opportunity to, she wants it. So we're like, we don't push her. We're like, hey, she wants to do this. And so we'll support her, you know, as long as she doesn't do dumb things or whatever. So
that's awesome, dude.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. That's just, watching them succeed. And I know they don't listen, dude. I just did a riding school last week, and half the parents were there that had kids were like, I always say, hey, you know, he does this. And like, oh, I know. I brought him here so you could tell him because he won't listen to me. And I'm like, okay,
true.
I'll work on it.
Yep.
They don't want to listen to mom and dad.
Yep.
Like, how much trouble could we have saved ourselves?
I did the same thing. And that's the thing I stress. And I tell my wife this. I'm like, I literally use the analogy of myself and my dad racing in like certain points in time. And I'm like, my dad was trying to hey, he's watching. He didn't race Supercross, but you have eyes.
Yeah.
It's like so. And I'm just like, Dad, you don't know, you know. So, and then she's like, does that to me, and I'm like, so I took it, like we were like super buds, and then I had to like tell myself like, hey, stop being so selfish. It's not about me.
Yeah.
It's her, you know. So I had to learn like, okay, she's trying to become her own person, all these things. And I know you have 2 daughters, and you've already know everything I'm saying, but yeah, it's to learn it and try to back off and make the relationship better, and try to help her when I can. And hey, you know, just if you need help, I'm here. Just let me know.
It's hard, dude, because you might have something, you know, like mine played soccer. And so just from nutrition to hydration, they're doing stuff wrong. And you're like, hey, that's probably not like the best thing. I mean, I'm not going to push, but if you want to know something, like,
yeah.
And so she's finally gotten to that point, but it wasn't until she got like 18-ish, 17, 15 to then, I was an idiot, you know. But I remember, like, I wouldn't listen to Mitch even, you know, like he would try to tell me something like, you know, like how stupid is that?
Yeah.
You got a guy like that and you're not going to listen to him. So I think when you're a teenager, sometimes you're just stupid.
You gotta you got to go through the trenches on your own to figure it out, which is that's what you see them. You're like, you're going to go into this trench. You can avoid it. Just go over here. And then you're like,
well, my buddy Randy, Randy Richardson?
yeah, yeah.
He always has this saying. He's got a million Randyisms, but he's like, you can't learn from your mistakes until you make them. And I was like, yep.
That's pretty simple and very true.
Unfortunately, facts. Yeah. Cool, man. Quick code reminder, guys. Any of our partners, WT26, you can get a discount. And our last question, man, we asked this to everybody. It's a rock form wrap up. Best phone cases in the biz, dude. Screen protectors, chargers, all kinds of stuff. Check out Rockform. And again, use our code. But our last question, man, is how do you want to be remembered in the sport?
I'm pretty dedicated to this sport, I guess. So I guess someone was dedicated is through all as a racer, business person on it. Someone that's like, I think integrity as far as having, the backs of people that I've worked with, the race teams, the racers, trying to, everything I could control, help them, give them as much support to be able to do what they need to do to do their job. Just someone that, always recognizes that.
Yeah.
Someone that's very cost effective, can do a lot with a little.
You need me to test ride? No problem. Bring a back brace. Dude, I said this about team managers, but I think guys in your position too, like anybody that's involved with racing, if you've raced before, you have a perspective that just somebody that hasn't raced can't have.
Yeah.
And I don't mean that to be like gatekeepy or whatever, but I just think you're valuable because you've seen it from a privateer racer, a factory team racer, then you saw the business side through tag and through all these other things you've done. Yeah. And so you just have a lot of experience that I think you bring a lot of value. So,
well, for sure. And that's where I think, like the joke is because our budgets is like, oh, you're Billy Bean, the cut, whatever. But it's trying to do the balance. And I think that's what's like part of this with HEP is like every year those guys fought so hard and they pushed Suzuki. And it was like trying to, for me, understanding from the racer side and the racing side and, development side, and then what Suzuki's side is and what they need, trying to match that up and navigate it the best to where it's like, hey, we have to back off them a little bit here, or, Suzuki needs this, and trying to, just trying to like be the middleman on the program to help them, so, because everybody it has to be mutually beneficial.
Yeah.
So yeah, you don't think about it in the moment. Like you're just trying to do your job. And like, okay, where sometimes you got to give and take, and So,
do you see bright days ahead for Suzuki in motocross? Yeah,
dude, it's tough. It's really tough, just from the standpoint of they're really like from the budgeting and business, like they're so Japan needs to step up. Like we have caps, we have limitations, we have things that we have to stay within, guidelines that we have to be within here, and within these ranges it's not possible to do what we're doing. So we need to be creative, and we have presidents that rotate through every so many years at Suzuki US, and sometimes those guys are more gunslingers and more willing to swing the bat for these types of things, and then there's other years these guys don't. It's like, this is the number, doesn't matter what happens, don't go past it or whatever.
So do you feel like the American Suzuki president has more sway on ultimately what happens in racing here than whoever's leading in Japan?
No.
Little of both?
It starts with Japan. Like, I mean, they're managed, hey, this is the budgets. And then it can be both. It's just where, we at least need one of them to be. Yeah.
One's got to be a racing fan.
Yeah. And it's like, cause we've been creative. Like we keep, the saying is like, we're punching way above our belt, like insanely. But it's putting the right people in place and having some luck, and you can't do it without a rider. Like,
Yeah.
you got to have an insanely talented guy. And so there's only a couple of those. So you got to have one of those, and then you got to have all the pieces, and you got to have things go your way. There's so many things in 17 rounds, and like, see all the craziness, the ups and downs.
It's wild, dude. I mean, even just this season, the things we saw, man, you'd have never guessed it when we started out.
No.
I mean, at the midway point, it looked like Eli had it locked up.
It was the weirdest thing, right?
And at 3/4 of the way, you thought, oh, Hunter's got it locked up.
Right.
You know, it's just, what a weird season.
Yeah. I mean, that's why we do it, though. It's like, I mean, I remember I was at the 92 race. Like, I went there.
Oh, LA?
Yeah. And when Brad and Stan pulled it off, and it was like, great, you know. So, I mean, but it's just so wild, but it's great for the sport. I mean, dude, did you stay after the race? How many people were still standing in this?
I was in the press box, and it was, I would say, a quarter to half full for like 45 minutes. Dude. After where normally it's empty. Yeah.
I was just like, and I wasn't paying attention, and then I was like, I heard the chanting, and I'm like, wow, there's still a lot of people here.
Yeah.
I mean, this is cool for our sport, and you know, so yeah, it's wild, really, really wild. Well,
listen, you've done a hell of a job over there. Congrats. You know, as a guy who's always kind of pulling for Suzuki quietly, I hope whoever the new president is, it loves racing, and you know, just man, congrats on a really cool career that you're building, not just in racing, but what you're doing after, because it's really cool.
Yeah, my racing career sucked.
Well, it was a lot of injuries. So speaking of, you know what? We've been giving away Rockwell watches, sunglasses, goggles now. Giving away a watch to each of our guests. So this is a Whiskey Throttle Club watch. Got our insignia on there. Really cool. If you guys have a business, you want to get these for your employees or your company, really sweet. And then this. Have you tried Nano Extreme?
No.
Listen, I may hook you on something right now. Because if you have pain,
I need 7.
Maybe you've broken something. I'm not kidding you, dude. Try this stuff. It's like icy hot, right? Yeah. But it works. Yeah. Like, it's not just some gimmicky menthol on your skin. Put this on anything that hurts on you, and call me in a week and tell me.
All right. I'm literally, all the flying back and forth and standing is like, my lower back and everything has just been so tough.
Yeah. So give it a few days, and I want you to call me and tell me what you think. It's incredible. I'm not kidding.
I got to fly to the road race tomorrow and be standing around, so I'm going to start now.
Well, you can tell me what time it is, and then you can have a little pain relief.
Boom.
Dude, thanks for coming.
Absolutely.
Always good to see you, buddy. We've known each other a long time, and always been a great dude. So stoked you came in.
Good game.
Okay, good game, guys. Thanks for watching. Stick around. We'll be back to wrap up the show. All right, guys, thanks for stopping by and watching. Appreciate Chris taking the time to come in. It's been a crazy week for these guys over at Suzuki. We were just chatting, and, you know, it's crazy to think that a company that is, at the moment, so currently uninvested in this sport or in developing their motocross line, they are the current U.S. Supercross champion and 2-time, for the past 2 years, World Supercross champion. They're dominating the sport of Supercross on a bike that hasn't changed at all in 8 years and very little in like 12 or more. So it's just incredible. I hope that Suzuki re-engages. I hope this maybe can spur them on to dive back in. My best guess is you will see a new Suzuki 450 in 2028. Don't hold me to that, but that would be my guess. Yeah, and so I hope that equates to them just really making a better effort into the sport of motocross in general. So anyway, huge thank you to him for coming in, to all of our sponsors. Guys, please support these folks that support us. They're amazing companies. We go a really long distance to make sure these are solid brands and we're not selling you guys trash. If we put our name on it here, it's because we really believe in these brands. So thanks so much. Use our code WT26 when you're buying any of these things, and support the folks that bring you this show. Appreciate it. See you next time. Yamaha is the industry leader in two-wheeled fun and performance. Celebrating 50 years of YZ in 2024, the Blue Crew is still dominating shootouts and competitions. Yamaha, revs your heart. Troy Lee Designs is the leader in off-road motocross apparel and style. So whether you're looking for a cool new paint job for your helmet, maybe your name and number on your helmet lettered on, you're looking for new gear, you're looking for mountain bike gear, off-road gear. They've got the brand new Scout line and GP and SE models. Troy Lee Designs has it all. They've been leading this industry for decades, and they're going to continue to do it. Check out TroyLeeDesigns.com. The Whiskey Throttle Show is proud to be partnered with Factory Effects. These guys have been around the motocross industry for over 30 years, making really cool graphics, really high-quality materials with really excellent fitment on all the brands. So whether you guys have a motorcycle you want to dial in, or you need a new stand or some tie-downs or whatever it is, Factory Effects has got you covered. And they've also got a bunch of officially licensed merchandise. So if you're a Yamaha guy, you can go over there and get some really cool Yamaha stuff. In fact, a lot of what you'll see me wearing here on the Whiskey Throttle Show is Factory Effects merchandise that's branded with Yamaha's logos. So check those guys out. Like I said, just a really cool company, and they've been around forever. These guys have been bleeding and sweating this sport for longer than a lot of people have been alive. So we're stoked to have them be a part of what we're doing, and they're giving us a really great deal for all of you guys, 25% off any order. All you've got to do is use our discount code, which is WT26. So go to factoryeffects.com, spelled factory, EFFEX.com, and use that code WT26 to get 25% off. We're all about supporting brands that support our sport. And there's one tire company that has never walked away from the sport of motocross and supercross, and it's Dunlop. When times got tough and the economy took a crash, Dunlop stepped up and stayed with our sport to support it and the athletes and individuals that love it. Their MX-53 line and MX-33 lines absolutely dominate this sport. Every national championship at the pro level has been won in the last decade, and nearly every single amateur national championship at Loretta Lynn's has been won on a Dunlop. So if you're looking for high performance, you're looking for amazing quality, and you're looking to support a brand that never turns its back on our sport, there's only one choice for you, and it's Dunlop. All right, Whiskey Throttle fam, we've got a sponsor here that I want to really encourage you guys to try, Element. If you haven't seen this stuff before, give them a check out on our Instagram bio. You can get in there. We've got a link that will give you free samples. You can go in and try this stuff. And this delivers just the right amount of electrolytes that you need when you're competing at all, especially if it's midsummer, humid. Think Loretta Lynn's, Nationals. You're sweating like crazy. This is the best way to replenish it, okay? Straight water is just going to flush more electrolytes out of your body, cause more cramping. You've got to get the electrolytes back in. This Element provides it in the perfect package with zero sugar. It is vegan, keto, paleo-friendly, gluten-free. This is the perfect product for athletes or those pretending to be athletes. So it was designed by Rob Wolf. This guy is a crazy smart dude working in the science field, was developing for his own use in athletics, and he came up with the perfect formula. This stuff's awesome. This right here, the citrus salt, is my favorite. Of course, you can get it in a sample pack like this where you can try some different flavors, watermelon, orange, raspberry. Great stuff. Cannot recommend this enough. If you are racing, even at a local level, and sweating at all, which, come on, we all do on a dirt bike, you've got to have some of this stuff to replenish it right. Give it a try. Like I said, go to our bio on Instagram. You can find a discount code or a link that takes you directly to there, and we'll give you a free sample. Check it out. You're not going to want to miss that. Support these guys. They are fans of the sport, and we are so stoked to be partnered with them. Element is an incredible product that I use exclusively, and I'm so proud to have them part of the Whiskey Throttle Show. Pro Circuit is the leader in aftermarket performance and quality. Whether you're looking for a little more horsepower out of your engine, some quality hard parts to improve the way your bike feels and looks, better handling through suspension or linkage arms, Pro Circuit is where you need to stop. It's your one-stop shop. You can go in there and get everything you need to make your motorcycle go from average to exceptional. Pro Circuit's got enough number one plates on their wall to side an entire home, and there's a reason for that. They're very, very good at what they do. The highest quality products with one goal in mind, and that's winning. Check out ProCircuit.com. If you are in the market for a new vehicle, look no further than Toyota of Redlands. You've got to support a brand that is supporting motocross big time. At the amateur level, pro level, they are part owners in the Bar X Yamaha racing team. They support a ton of riders individually, and they support us here at Whiskey Throttle Media. And I'll tell you what, the facility up there in Redlands is absolutely incredible. It's beautiful. The folks are friendly. They're professional. And if you've never owned a Toyota, you got to give it a try. It is the only brand that I'll drive anymore. If you're buying, there's nothing more reliable, nothing that holds its resale value better. And the folks at Toyota Redlands are just they still remember what customer service is. I guess that's all I really need to say. Incredibly friendly, professional, and just talented staff up there. We're stoked to have them a part of the show. If you see the Whiskey Throttle truck around here, the Toyota Redlands Tundra, give us a wave and a honk. But man, just so stoked to have these guys on board. Like I said, anybody like that that's getting involved and supporting the sport, we just want to push as many people as we can to them, because those folks are rare, and especially when they have an incredible product and provide an incredible service. So get up to Toyota Redlands, California. If you're anywhere in southern United States, southwest United States, it's worth the drive. Get over there, check those guys out. Tell them the Whiskey Throttle Crew sent you. On-switch device, something that was much needed in this sport. They've been innovating and bringing new products to market. Their latest is the new Nihilo Run Cool brake pistons. They're designed to be stronger than stock and provide exceptional cooling performance with less brake drag. Most OEM calipers pistons are made from aluminum that just can't hold up to the heat and extreme demands of serious racing. When they get hot, the aluminum will distort, causing loss of hydraulic pressure and brake failure. Nihilo's Run Cool pistons limit the area that boiling hot hydraulic fluid is able to come in contact with the piston, leaving 2/3 of the piston volume in open air with breather holes to enhance the cooling ability. It's made of a proprietary stainless blend, which is better at dissipating heat. You have issues with brake fade or brake failure, check out Nihilo Concepts among their many amazing hard parts and carbon fiber parts and titanium. NihiloConcepts.com. Seat Concepts is the leader in motorcycle saddles. If you're looking for a new cover or a new seat entirely, Seat Concepts is the place to go. They make custom seat foams catered to your height, weight, riding ability, riding type. They also have waterproof covers and foams that will not break down if you ride in a lot of inclement weather. And they pride themselves on being much more comfortable than OEM or any other aftermarket company. If you're looking for a new seat or a new cover, Seat Concepts, there's nothing better. Guys, I want to introduce you to Rockform, a sponsor of the Whiskey Throttle Show here, that has just been blowing my mind with their products. They've got all kinds of, started as phone cases. This is their rugged phone case here that I've got, which is just bulletproof. You could throw this thing out of an airplane, probably pick it up and be just fine. And on the back here, everything is magnetic, so it'll just stick to anything metallic, obviously. But this little locking device you've got in the back, this bolts onto handlebar mounts, car mounts, adhesive mounts, magnetic mounts, and it does not come off. It is locked in. I have no fear that my phone is going to pop off a handlebar on a street bike ride. And then I like the little sport ring they've got. They've got all kinds of devices that pop in here, but this thing acts as a stand. If you want to sit this thing up and watch something on your phone or work on it, just absolutely incredible. And this is magnetic as well. All kinds of amazing products, guys, for your phone. Kind of that's their primary function. They also have the G-Rock speaker. This is basically made for golf, and you just stick it to the frame of your golf cart and get after it. Got great tunes all day long. So a ton of products, but check out our boys at Rockform. These guys are killing it. I'm so stoked to be partnered with this brand. You know, we really pride ourselves on partnering with elite brands, really, really high-level companies, and Rockform is right on cue. Need to replace something on your bike that's worn out? Look at elite brands, really, really high-level companies, and Rockform is right on cue. Need to replace something on your bike that's worn out? Look no further than ProX. These guys aim to make everything OEM quality or better at an affordable price. And they've also got some new products coming. So right now, chains, sprockets, anything inside the engine internally, air filters. If it wears out, ProX makes it, and they make it at a quality level that's OEM or better. And they've got some new things coming that are awesome. A complete engine rebuild kits for the Polaris RZR 800s. Need to replace something on your bike that's worn out? Look no further than ProX. These guys aim to make everything OEM quality or better at an affordable price. And they've also got some new products coming. So right now, chains, sprockets, anything inside the engine internally. If it wears out, ProX makes it, and they make it at a quality level that's OEM or better. All right, so you had a tip over in the garage or at the track and you broke your lever off, what are you going to do? Go to Arc Levers, guys. They're the only people you need to check out in this space. Arc Levers, everything manufactured right here in the United States to craftsman precision. The stuff is awesome. Whether you're looking for an entire clutch perch with maybe a bigger wheel, they make the wheel super easy to find and adjust. Or maybe you just want replacement levers. They do that as well. Anything you're after, they can change the throw, the feel, everything you want, custom. They can make them feel different, look different colors. These guys are dialed, man. They've got all kinds of cool products. If you haven't been over to Arc Levers and seen what they've got, check them out. These guys are being run by Factory Honda. If they're good enough for Jet Lawrence, I think you and I can probably make them work. The Star Racing Yamaha team, a lot of factory riders running them for good reason. They're the best products in the business. Check out Arc Levers. The Whiskey Throttle Show is presented by Motorsport.com. It doesn't matter if you like to pull a throttle cable on a dirt bike, street bike, side by side. Motorsport.com is putting riders first with parts, gear, and accessories, including some of our partners like Troy Lee Designs, Dunlop, Pro Circuit, and more. They offer first returns free on apparel so you can buy with confidence. And Motorsport.com offers fast, free shipping on all orders over $79. Make your next ride your best ride. Visit Motorsport.com. Every good podcast show has got to have an underwear sponsor, right? Well, we went right to the top, Ethica. These guys make the best underwear. If you haven't tried a pair, you don't know what you're missing. Your life hasn't even started yet. So try a pair of Ethicas on. Go to Ethica.com. Use our code WHISKEY20. Get you 20% off. And give all of your nether regions a break, man. It's vacation time for the boys. These things are comfortable. You're riding. Your butt's not going to get all chafed. These things are awesome. And guess what? They don't just make underwear. No. Tees, hats, beanies, sweatshirts, shorts. For kids, ladies, toddlers, old people, everybody, you name it, they make them. You know what else they make? Moto gloves. I didn't even know that. I just found it out. So get over to Ethica.com. Check them out. These guys are awesome. Whiskey20. Use our code. Don't cheat me now. Get 20% off and put your buns in the best undies around. Ethica.com. All right, the sun is shining. That means you guys need to find yourself a good pair of sunglasses and look no further than Rockwell. These guys are making some incredible shades right now. They're all designed here in the USA, made in Italy. Very, very high-end craftsmanship on these things. They've got so many different models for men's and women's styles. There's floatable glasses, so if you're out on a lake, on a boat somewhere this summer, go out, find yourself a pair of the floatable ones. They've also got wireframe. They've got wraparound. Anything you're after, any style, Rockwell makes it. We are also working on a motocross goggle that is going to be insane. We are in the development stages of that. I'm helping them with that, as is Justin Hill and a couple other guys. So stay tuned for that. That's coming. They also make all kinds of casual wear. Rockwell is getting it done in all kinds of markets. But the sunglasses, whoo, these things are next level. Check them out, rockwell.com.
The inspiration for Element, interestingly, was from working with my coaches. I sat down with those guys. I'm like, hey, here's what I'm doing. What should I do? And they looked at everything and they were like, you need more electrolytes, specifically sodium. And like most people do when they have a coach, I ignored what their advice was. I'm kind of like, well, I salt my food, I'm probably good. And it took me at least a year to finally listen to these guys and do what they asked me to do. And it was just a switch flip. It was just so obvious that this was the critical missing piece to the story. And it's ironic that this salt piece was like the linchpin, the keystone to making all the rest of that work.
You guys know how particular I am about who we partner with on this show. And when the Nano Extreme folks came to me wanting to join the program, I definitely had to give it some time to try it. And I've been dealing with a lot of knee pain and obviously just the bumps and bruises that come along with being an old motocross guy. And this stuff legit works. And in fact, so well, I had to kind of dig in and find out why. And in talking with one of their formulators, there is a component called capsaicin. It's actually the component that's found in chili peppers that makes them spicy, makes them so hot. And that actually blocks the nerve signals that send pain signals through them, along with DMSO and arnica and some other things that are just naturally anti-inflammatory. There's a bunch of essential oils and camphor and menthol, which make it kind of feel cool or hot or however your sensation reads it. But at the end of the day, regular use of this works. Like, it legit works. And so I cannot recommend this stuff enough. If you guys have arthritis like I do, or if you've just, working out hard and you've got a lot of muscle soreness, this will help. Maybe you're sitting in a chair all day and you've got pain in between your shoulder blades. Doesn't matter. Joint pain, this stuff will help you, I promise. Use it regularly. Follow the instructions. You don't want to get this stuff around your eyes or in sensitive areas because it will definitely burn a bit, but definitely works. Really stoked on this product and proud to be partnered with Nano Extreme. Check them out. And use our code WT26 to get yourself a discount when ordering.
The Specialized Science Club introduces the Levo 4. An electric mountain bike so advanced, it borders on sorcery. Together, you and the Levo 4 become a harmonious hybrid of organic and synthetic. It's a rider-enhancing machine that transforms you into a cycling cyborg. 720 watts of power and 111 Newton meters of torque, amplifying your mortal muscles, allowing you to bend space and time to your will. All channeled through futuristic suspension, with honed geometry, granting super control while traversing extreme terrain at hyper speed. With supernatural power delivery, you'll have super traction to conquer climbs where others spin out. And you'll tire, if at all, before the bike does. Thanks to the Levo 4's super range.
Thanks for checking out the Whiskey Throttle Show. If you guys liked it, be sure to like and subscribe so you get notified anytime we have a new show go up. You can also go over to WhiskeyThrottleMedia.com and check out all of the content, new bike builds, new bike introductions. We've got all kinds of features in the moto and off-road space, as well as all of the current Whiskey Throttle shows listed there. You can find our YouTube channel to get a complete list by season of all the shows we've done, well over 100 at this point. And also follow us on Instagram, follow us on TikTok, like, subscribe, comment, all that junk. We'll see you guys.